That is the Starburst Choir from Wentzville East Elementary, and welcome back to the Family Arena. A nice crowd on hand here as we get ready for a big matchup with the Fort Wayne Komets, the 5th of 7 on the year. The River Otters 3 points out of a playoff spot, currently occupied by the Flint Generals, and 5 points ahead in third place. These Fort Wayne Komets, the first meeting with the Komets since January 18th. Our starters on defense for the Komets, Kevin Schmidt and Kevin Bertram up front, Craig Desjardins, Jim Logan, and Darren Gauthier on defense for the River Otters, Anthony Capoletti and Kevin Schabbert up front, Eric Morano, Darren Kimball, and Lonnie Loach, the 100-year line for this River Otters hockey team. Our netminders for the Komets, Martin Fillion, 9-5-3 the record, 2.75 the goals against, and a 9.04 save percentage. For the River Otters, Brian Regan, 12-11-4 his record, 3.50 the goals against average, and an 8.87 save percentage. Our referee for tonight's game is Jamie Koharski, the linesman Jerry Burt, and John Wells. And I've been waiting for a game like this, Joe Richter, all season long, and you certainly would have hoped that the River Otters would have been in the position Fort Wayne's in right now, but maybe this is good. Maybe this is a way for the River Otters to prepare themselves for the playoffs.
And you hope that they're ready for it. This is what it's all about. You have this team trying to gun for the fourth and final playoff spot. Only a few points behind Fort Wayne. This could be a 4-point night tonight, David. So let's hope the River Otters are ready for this very good Fort Wayne Komets team.
Kimball will center. Morano and Loach launched it to Desjardins. River Otters skating from our right to left. Puck chopped up the near glass, through center, knocked down Schabbert the other way. Right wing feed, Morano will snap it in the near corner. After it is Lonnie Loach, sweeps it in front, but there is Logan to pick it up for Fort Wayne and bring it back out to center. Logan up the near side across the line, dropped off, good pass to Desjardins in front off the skate of Capoletti. Kimball back for it, up for Capoletti. Capoletti will get to center to the red line, will dish it in. Quick line change for the River Otters. 30 seconds into the action here at the Family Arena. Here's Kevin Schmidt in front of his own net, out at center for Desjardins. Taken away by Whitecott, and he'll chip it in deep. Heading in after it, Joe Ritson. Back there, Schmidt getting hammered to the end boards there by Ritson. Now it's taken by Bertram up the far wall. Gretzky just off the bench. Snaps it to center for Gauthier too far. Doug Searle back at the River Otters' end. Far side to his defensive partner, Jason Hughes. Will snap it out to center ice. Chopped right back in. Searle gloves it down and will work it out to neutral ice. River Otters from our right to left. Searle through the center circle will snap it in off the near wall. Out of the net there, Fillion will fire it around the far side. Funny bounce off a partition. It squirts back through center ice, and Doug Searle heading back at the River Otters' end for it. Searle picks it up in behind Brian Regan, behind the Missouri net around the near side. Up the wall, it's Jason Goodmanson trying to work it out to center. Can't. Knocked in front, but Searle there with time to take it and control it for the River Otters. Doug Searle dances out in front of his own net. Near side pass for Whitecott. Whitecott stick handles out the center to the red line, trying to snap it in. Ritson there to help out, will backhand it in deep. And another line change for the River Otters. Brandon Murley out there with Curtis Voss and Charlie Blythe. Blythe, a healthy scratch last night. Murley, a goal in his first game as a member of the River Otters, had 6 games with the Quad City Mallards and 1 goal before being acquired on Tuesday for a 5th-round draft pick. Puck chipped in from center by Blythe. After it, Voss, centering attempt, swept away. Rebound in front. Here's a chance for Blythe, but it just slipped off his stick. Back at center, here comes Severson with speed. Down the right wing, a shot, stick save, Regan. Rebound, Tony White ties up Severson, near corner. Here's Massey. In deep, looks for Severson, finds him. Tony White trying to tie up Severson. Now Massey with time. He had 2 goals last night. His 21st and 22nd of the year. Puck played in deep. Here's Grills. Has it. Drops it in by Jarris behind the net. Now Massey looking back out front. Now Jarris will take it away. And with time, work it out to center. 2:15 into the opening period. No score here at the Family Arena. The River Otters and the Fort Wayne Komets. Newmeyer controlling, backpedaling in front of his own net. Newmeyer now pulls it in behind the Fort Wayne goal, looks things over. He'll step out in front of his own net. Newmeyer, right wing feed to Grills at center. Grills now will flip it in and head back to the Fort Wayne bench. But here's Massey and Voss pushing and shoving. Voss getting several rights in on Massey. Didn't like what Massey did when he was heading off to the Fort Wayne bench. And Massey really wanted no part of Voss, but Voss trying to protect himself and stick up for his team there. Said, that's enough of that. We're going to set a tone early.
Massey came across. They're both players. He was going off the ice, and then also a River Otters player was going off the ice, too. Massey just, I don't know if it was inadvertent or not, but he ran into him, and Voss did not like it. As you said, trying to set a tone for this game. Already, these two teams came out very, very intense. Lots of physical play. It seems like these guys are just trying to set that physical tone. This is, as we said, a big, big game. This is the playoffs, and you can tell already these two teams going at it.
Darren Kimmel and Chad Grills are jawing at one another, and this is probably the best 2.5-minute start I've seen to a River Otters game this year for the amount of intensity I've seen out of this hockey club.
There's this amount of intensity we've seen so far is rivals that we saw in the Olympics. That's probably the only time I've seen the type of intensity we just saw in the first few minutes. This was incredible. If you are not here at the Family Arena, you are missing out on this one. These two teams, two great teams battling for those final playoff spots in the Western Conference, and it shows.
Well, Jamie Koharski trying to sort it out, explaining things to the captains, Lonnie Loach for the River Otters and Brent Gretzky for the Fort Wayne Komets. And we'll see what's going to happen here. Is it going to be 4 aside? Are the River Otters going to get charged for the extra? They will. And so Voth goes off the double minor for roughing. Massey gets just 2 for roughing, and Fort Wayne will be on the power play.
Well, the River Otters coming out on the short end of the stick there, but Curtis Voth at least got the job done. He let them know, we're not going to be pushed around. We're not going to let you guys pull some cheap shots like that. It's going to be a clean game. It's going to be a fun game, a hard effort game. And we've seen it already as we talked about here. River Otters need to keep some pressure in the offensive zone so far. Fort Wayne getting the only shot of the game. Seemed like no problem for Brian Regan. Both teams playing solid defensive neutral zone. Going to have to find some open passing lanes. Get that River Otters game going. Get those passes going. Get that transition game going as River Otters now trying to kill a penalty.
River Otters first in the UHL, home penalty killing, over 90% their efficiency rating. Morano, Loach, Doug Searle, and Jason Hughes out there for the River Otters. Up front, Grills, Gauthier, and Logan for the Komets. Gretzky and Bobby Marshall at the point. Here's Grills back to the right point, knocked away there by Morano. And now Grills will circle back at the Fort Wayne line, drop it off there for Bobby Marshall. Marshall now back from Gauthier, near side. Marshall ahead at center for Jim Logan. Logan, 1.5 left in the Fort Wayne power play. Pulls up as he crosses the line off for Gauthier. Near boards back to Logan. Logan will dance in deep, trying to get away from Whitecott and can't. Will play it in off the end boards far side. Chad Grills. Grills now at the far point for Gretzky. Near point for Marshall. Couldn't keep it in. Loach will bat it out to center. Here he comes shorthanded down the left wing, looking in front to Morano. Just knocked down a rather Whitecotton, and it just squirted away. Whitecotton came on there for Morano a bit earlier and was getting tied up as he tried to head to the net. Ritson just out nearly took the puck away there from Severson, who was able to dump it in. Here's Schabbert chopping it off the near wall. Will fire it out through center ice. 45 left in the extra minor to Curtis Voth. He got the double minor for roughing, and Massey got the single minor. Kimball serving that double minor is Ritson. Shorthanded up to the right wing. Will circle back to the River Otters end and will spin and fire it in the Fort Wayne zone. David Mays now will control for the Komets. Near side pass out at center. It's a big check there by Capoletti on Peter Cermak as Schabbert chops it around the far side. Perry up the wall for Capoletti, trying to get it out to center ice. Can't held in by Cermak. Here's Bertram, far wall, trying to spin away from Perry. In deep. Puck taken by Severson. Back over to Bertram, having trouble. Tries to sweep it in down low. Pass to Severson, cut away by Capoletti. And the River Otters come to center. Schabbert firing a long shot wide of the net, far boards. After it, Perry, and the River Otters are at full strength. Heading back for it is Craig Desjardins. Desjardins back in behind the Fort Wayne net. Stick handles out in front. He'll get the center ice with speed. Desjardins through the center circle. Will wrist it in off the end boards. Regan out of the net. Will snap it around the near side for Goodmanson. Gauthier could knock it down. Now Goodmanson had the hat trick last night, the 14th in Family Arena history, coming through center. His top line of Whitecott and Goodmanson. Ritson had 8 of the team's 15 points. Whitecott had 3 assists. Ritson had 2. Here is Schmidt in behind the Fort Wayne net. Stood up there by Ritson. Chopped her on the far side. Here is Miller in front of his own net. Newmeyer out of center. Gauthier left wing feed for Desjardins. In across the line onside. Gets by Searle. No, he was offside. A late call to the fortunate circumstances of the River Otters. A late call, and Desjardins is called for offside. We'd like you to visit River Otters Veteran Center, Eric Moreno, for all your mortgage needs at Streamline Mortgage Corporation, 314-537-0892. River Otters Veteran Center, Eric Moreno, for all your mortgage needs at Streamline Mortgage Corporation, 314 537-0892.
Well, the Fort Wayne Komets went out and got Craig Desjardins from the Knoxville Speed on the 13th this month, just for cash, showing that they're trying to make a couple extra moves also, just like the River Otters, who made a trade with Knoxville to get Doug Searle and Jason Hughes are out there on the back line for the River Otters right now.
Well, all these teams fighting for playoff position and getting or raiding the Knoxville core. Cermak and Desjardins coming from Knoxville to Fort Wayne, and the River Otters getting Doug Searle and Jason Hughes. Near corner, Searle steals. In behind his own net, Jason Hughes. Far side now, River Otters from our right to left get to center. 5.5 into the opening period. No score here at the Family Arena. River Otters and the Fort Wayne Komets for the 5th time this year. Virag will spin and fire it in. The River Otters end. Here's Jason Hughes. Behind the Missouri net, will control it. Step out in front of his own net. Hughes out at center for Lonnie Loach. Now Morano chopped the other way. Here's Kimball getting back at the River Otters end, trying to chop it ahead for Searle, and does. Doug Searle ahead to Morano across the red line. Morano in on left wing for Loach. At the left point, holds it and then chips it in deep. And here is Martin Fillion, leaving it there for Troy Newmeyer. Newmeyer now will look things over. Dance out in front of his own net. Newmeyer looking. Will bring it out to center ice. Left wing feed there for Massey and across the line. Massey with Severson breaking to the net. Poke check by Capoletti. Nice job. Now it's taken by Grills. Held in. Grills trying to center for Massey. Now Severson, but cleared away there by Schabbert. Far boards. Here's Morano. He'll pick it up and chip it out to center ice. Knocked down and played right back the other way by Mays, but here's Schabbert at the River Otters line. 6.5 into the opening period. David Rack and Joe Richter with you from the Family Arena. River Otters and the Komets scoreless here. Here's a chance in front. Murley alone a shot. Philly on the save. Rebound. And Perry is stopped in the doorstep. Jarrett a drive, and he actually hit Murley. And Murley went down, slow to get up. Now finally gets to his skates and heads back to the bench. Near side, here's Blythe chipping it out to center. Bobby Marshall back at the Fort Wayne line ahead to Chad Grills. Bill backhanded in deep in the River Otters end as Massey gets hammered there by Tony White behind the play. White to center with her to pass. Knocked down there by Logan just off the bench. Now picked up. Goodmanson in across the line for Whitecotton. Hammer there by Desjardins. Now taken by David Mays for Fort Wayne. Pulls up trying to sidestep Whitecotton. Does. Scoops it up the wall for Jim Logan, who backhands it out to center ice. And here is Derek Gauthier trying to work in on left wing. Desjardins getting hammered there by Jarris. Now Ritson trying to chop it cross ice. It's deflects off a leg. Tony White gloves it ahead for Goodmanson. Now Whitecotton in on the near side. Whitecotton trying to get by Gauthier. He's taken down. And now it's Schmidt will fire it around the far wall for Logan. Ritson missed on a big check. In along the inboards. Shot from the right point there by Hughes. Knocked down by Fillion. And he holds on for the whistle and the stoppage in play. And this intensity, this pace, Joe Richter, is just why folks love to come out and watch hockey games. It has been fast and furious, back and forth, just 4 shots aside, and really some great work by that line of Murley, Perry, and Blythe. And Brandon Murley, Mark Reeves was talking about it before the game, probably had a chance for a hat trick last night, had 1 goal, and he had a great opportunity right there.
He just really fits in his team very well. He's got pretty good speed, 6'1", 195. He's got great muscle, too. He's hard to knock off the puck. He can crash the net really hard, just like he did right there on a very good scoring chance, as you said.
Face off to the left of Fillion. One there by the Komets. Cleared around the near side. Virag trying to clear it out to center ice and does. Kimball at the red line will circle back at the River Otters end. Ahead for Loach. Chips in. Heading after it is Morano. He gets tied up and interfered with. Now Mays in behind the Fort Wayne net. Will control out in front of his own goal. Backhands it out to center. A good feed ahead to Cermak. Stood up there by Hughes. Great check, but Hughes is going to be sent off for the elbow here at 8:07 in Fort Wayne. We'll get their second power play of the night here. Hughes got up just a little too high on that check, but a good job to stand up Cermak at that red line.
Well, Hughes is a big guy. You know, he stands very tall at 6'3", 210. He looks even bigger than that. You know, sometimes those bigger guys just have a tendency to get the elbows up on the smaller guys, and he hit them hard there on the boards. As we know, as we've been talking about, this has been a real intense start to this game. Both teams, every player has been finishing their checks. Hughes just did it right there. Unfortunately, just a little too aggressive on that play, and the River Otters have to kill another power play off.
Hughes in the box for elbowing. Morano and Loach will start off the penalty kill. Searle and Capoletti on the back line. Grills, Gauthier, Massey up front. Gretzky and Marshall as a point. Whitecotton had a good chance shorthanded on the first Fort Wayne power play. Let's see if the River Otters can't create some more. Far side, Gauthier back to the left point. Marshall can't hold in. Here's Morano off to the races, getting tugged at by Marshall. Nearly taken down, and Marshall's going to be sent off there for the hook. And a good call by Jamie Koharski to even things up here. And we'll skate 4-on-4 for the next minute 37.
That's a really, really good call. You know, Morano wasn't completely tugged down. So you can say, well, you know, most of the time that you'll see a referee make a call, it's when a player is on the ice. Right there, what happened was Eric Morano's scoring chance was taken away just by him holding on to him like that. A hook like that, and Morano kept on moving his feet, kept on chugging, trying to get that scoring chance. And if he wasn't hooked, he would have had a breakaway. So a great call by Coho.
And that's one of those things that you hope they continue to call in the playoffs, so you see that end-to-end action in the postseason. Sometimes they don't call those. Here's Mays getting hammered down by Capoletti. Wanted to call, wouldn't get it. Here's Mays through center. 4-on-4 hockey. In on right wing to Virag. Bad angle shot, Regan to save. Here's Searle. He'll pick it up and work it out to center. Whitecott. Right wing to Ritson. He'll work it across the line. Whitecott getting back to the front of the net on a centering attempt by Ritson. And Fillion actually got his stick on that one and made the stop, and Capoletti's going to be sent off here. Didn't like the non-call earlier, but it doesn't matter. Slashing will be the call on Anthony Capoletti, creating a rare 4-on-3 power play here. 8:56 the time of the slash.
Well, last night, Jamie Koharski, of course, St. Louis and son of NHL referee Don Koharski. Jamie kind of known for making pretty much every call that he can. And last night, though, only made 3 minor penalty calls. That was somewhat a little surprising. Tonight, he's made twice that already in less than 10 minutes of this first period. We're only 9 minutes into this game, and I think we have more penalty minutes than we do at time elapsed here in this game. But Capoletti, a guy who always plays tough, he's really nasty in his own zone, and you like players like that on your blue line because it makes guys think twice. Or forwards coming into the zone are always kind of looking for Anthony, making sure where he is. Try to keep out of his way. Anthony, a very, very physical defenseman.
Loach, Tony White, Mike Jarrett's out there for the 3 for the River Otters, the 4 for the Komets. Gretzky, Gauthier, Mays, and Virag. Now Gauthier trying to work it in on the near side, taken away there by Loach, but Gauthier gets back to it at the Fort Wayne line. No score, 9:15 into the opening period. 4-on-3 power play for Fort Wayne. Virag down to the left circle, chopped away by Jarrett, hammers him to the ice. Now it's Gretzky in the corner. Now Virag back over to Gauthier. Gauthier far boards in deep for Gretzky. Left point. Here's Mays. He thought about shooting, but then we'll stick handle to the high slot. Here's Gretzky, one-time shot off the mask of Regan, and it knocked the mask right off his head. Knocked it right off his head. Brian Regan made the save with his head. Gretzky just pinged it right off his mask.
Well, he'll never be the head of a major corporation. He used his head there. All the stupid head jokes you can come up with. Brian Regan just getting the job done with whatever he can right there. A big save. Frank Gretzky, more known as a setup man, but a blast from the right face-off circle, just a rocket, and Regan had to go down, cut down the angle, and make the save with whatever he could. And he made the save with his head, and his helmet came off in the process.
Well, the face-off is going to come to the left of Brian Regan here after John Sheehan checks him out, makes sure he is okay. Sheehan just making sure he has his wits about him, and he is doing fine, but Gretzky just unloaded there. And the Gretzkys certainly were never known for their shooting, or at least not as much of their shooting as they should have been. Wayne Gretzky, of course, 92 goals, still holds the National Hockey League record for scoring, but in terms of having a howitzer, but they have hard and accurate shots like no one knows, or at least more than people want to talk about. And Gretzky, the brother, Brent of Wayne, had a nice howitzer right there from the right face-off dot.
Gretzky had a few games up with the Tampa Bay Lightning a few years ago, but didn't really get enough of a shot in the NHL. And probably that might be a reason he didn't not only has been known as a sniper, but also doesn't come back in his own zone enough.
Here's Gauthier, near side for Gretzky. Gretzky back over to David Mays, lost the handle. Now we'll bring it in. Virag will snap it off the near boards. Regan out of the net will clear the zone himself all the way down the ice. 10 seconds and we're back to 4-on-4 hockey for about 25 seconds. And then Fort Wayne goes in the power play again. Here's Massey in our right wing high slot. Massey looks things over. We'll chip it in deep to Chad Grills. Grills now in behind the net. 4-on-4 hockey for just a bit of time. And then the Komets go back in the power play. Chopped her on the far side. Bertram will flip it back in deep. Grills and along the inboards. Hammered there by Tony White. In to help out is Michelle Massey. Massey now gets hammered to the inboards by Doug Searle. White Cotton trying to get in there and help out. And now Fort Wayne back in the power play again as Marshall steps out of the box. Dump back in deep. Here's Massey. Massey now chops it around the near side. White Cotton stole it. Back in line to his own net for Searle. 15 to go in the Fort Wayne power play, their third. And Hughes, good job, able to clear it down the ice. 9:10 left to go in the first period. No score. The River Otters and the Fort Wayne Komets. Looking things over from behind his net, Kevin Schmidt. We're going to be 5-on-5 here right now, actually. As Schmidt just waited to set out the proper breakout, whether the River Otters had 5 guys or 4. Here's Bertram, far side for Desjardins. Will snap it in deep in the River Otters end. Shabert heading after it. Icing waved off. Shabert in behind the River Otters net. Around the near side. Off the wall. Logan held up there. Goodmanson trying to tie up Desjardins and play it out to center. Can't. Held in by Newmeyer. Right point in deep. Here's Shabert chopping it up the wall for Ritson out at center. A pass too far for White Cotton. Newmeyer back at the Fort Wayne line. Off the near boards for Logan. Logan will wrist it in. Gauthier trying to head in, but White Cotton had him tied up. Regan around the far side. Now Ritson trying to kick it out to center ice. Unable to. Desjardins hammered down. White Cotton coming back for it. Stick handles out in front of his own net. Near side for Goodmanson. Back out to White Cotton. Chipped ahead for Ritson. Ritson now to White Cotton. Trying to sweep it in and does. And the River Otters will change lines. 8:10 to go in the opening period. No score here at the Family Arena. Meeting number 5 of 7 between the River Otters and the Fort Wayne Komets. David Rack and Joe Richter with you. Far boards. Here is Hughes. Ahead for Blythe. He'll chip it in from the red line. Is this going to be icing? No, it's not. Marshall backhands it up the near side for Gauthier. Gauthier will look things over and snap it ahead for Peter Cermak. Tied up there by Searle at the Missouri line. Boss the other way for Blythe and knocked down and sent in there by Peter Cermak. Here is Hughes. Up the center of the ice. Good outlet feed to Blythe, who will chip it up the near wing. Too far from Murley. And here is Virag. Ahead for Cermak. Knocked down. Tony White will fire it in the other way. River Otters from our right to left here in this opening period. Back there is Bertram in front of the Fort Wayne net. He'll look things over and try to work it out to center. Voss stole it. Dumped it back in deep. Now Fillion out of his net will leave it there. It's taken by Mays. He'll stick handle out in front of his own net. David Mays. Far side pass to Virag. Knocked down. Gets it back. Mays does. He'll chip it in. Jarrett stands him up. And Tony White will head back forward for the River Otters. White out in front of his own net. At center for Loach. Chipped ahead for Kimball. Too far. Schmidt back for Fort Wayne. In front of his own net for Troy Newmeyer. Near side. It's Severson off the right wing. Taken now by Kelly Miller. Miller can't get by Shabert. Stood up nicely. Back at center. Here's Severson. Severson trying to play it by Kimball. Can't. Chop the other way now. Morano for the River Otters over for Kimball. Under 7 to go in the first period. No score here at the Family Arena. The River Otters and the Fort Wayne Komets. Here is Ryan Severson. Severson now trying to work by Lonnie. Loach ties him up. Loach does. Kimball back in deep for Loach. Now Morano with help from Shabert. Then the miscommunication had it taken away. And here comes Newmeyer out to center for Fort Wayne. Now Severson back to Newmeyer in and across the line. But that pass went trickling by the net. Capoletti drops it off for Loach behind the Missouri goal. River Otters from our right to left. Morano far side to center. He'll get in across the Fort Wayne line down to the circle. Trying to cut in front. Morano gets spun around by Severson. Far corner. Loach heading after it. Here is the puck picked up by Bobby Marshall. Chopping it around the near side. Whacking at it. Severson up the wall. Held in by Searle. I thought wrist shot. Blocker stopped there by Fillion. Solid all the way near boards. White Cotton just off the bench. Hammering his man Desjardins. But the puck fired all the way down the ice. And Hughes will touch up. Under 6 to go in the opening period. No score here at the Family Arena. This is River Otters hockey on 99.9 KFAV.
Missouri. When seconds count, we count seconds. Our trauma centers in St. Charles and Lake St. Louis are fully staffed and equipped to ensure that critically ill or injured patients receive the highest quality care and the utmost excellence in response. At SSM St. Joseph, we're dedicated to the fulfillment of our mission, which is, through our exceptional healthcare services, we reveal the healing presence of God. For more information, please visit our website at ssmstjoseph.com.
And welcome back to the Family Arena. No score, 5.5 left in the opening period. Ruled a hand pass on the River Otters, so we get a whistle and a stoppage in play. Jason Hughes got whacked there in the hand, grimacing as he takes his glove off. But the River Otters scoreless with the Komets. David Rack and Joe Richter with you from the Family Arena. And this game thus far, Joe Richter, has really come as advertised. Just an intense end-to-end game. 10 shots, 7 for the River Otters, and the scoring chances, though, really even on both sides.
And we talked about it in pregame. We needed the River Otters to come out with a playoff attitude, and we've certainly seen that here in the first, more than half of the first period here.
Here's Gretzky at center, flipped ahead for Cermak, knocked down. Now Cermak gets back to it at his own line for Mays through the center circle. In on left wing, Gretzky firing a drive. Glove save there by Regan, and it's deflected out to center ice as he couldn't get all of it. Now here's Mays. Near side back in the Fort Wayne end. Mays stick handling away from Charlie Blythe. He'll get to center. Mays, right wing feed to Gretzky, glove down. He'll work to the circle, pass in front, Perry back. Nice work on the back check, and the River Otters will come to center. It's Charlie Blythe with Jarris, 2-on-2. Into the Fort Wayne end, low shot by Blythe, stopped there by Fillion. Rebound, Perry trying to work it in front. It's chopped away, and Virag will bring it out to center ice. 2-on-1 the other way, but now Loach joins the play to hold up Cermak. Shot deflected wide of the net there by Shabert on the Virag attempt. And it's chopped back out to neutral ice. Here's Kevin Bertram for Fort Wayne. He'll wind and fire the puck in deep. 4.5 left to go in the opening period. No score. River Otters and the Fort Wayne Komets. Morano chips it off for Jarris, who will look things over out to center ahead for Lonnie Loach. Loach now good feet ahead for Kimball, but chipped away by Schmidt over the near glass and into the crowd. Rustique Sunrooms, they can build an outside oasis just for your home. A Rustique custom sunroom will let you enjoy the beauty of outside with the comforts of inside, regardless of your home's age or style. Rustique can customize the paradise just for you and your family to enjoy all year long. Rustique, a family business with over 30 years of quality service. They specialize in letting the sun shine in. Come by and visit their expansive showroom, conveniently located on Highway 40 in St. Charles. Rustique Sunrooms. Komets control off the draw. Bertram ahead for Severson, broken up the other way. Loach trying to work it up the near wall. River Otters from our right to left. Far side, Shabert to Capoletti. Capoletti will scoop it up the wall through center. Glove down by Schmidt back in the Komets end. He'll bring it right back out to neutral ice, trying to play it into the River Otters zone, and does. And he'll step off the ice for a line change. Shabert around the near side for Loach, trying to hold up drills, and does. And now we get a flat in the glass. That fell down, and the maintenance crew here at the Family Arena will come out and reattach that. But there's not been too many stoppages in play, and lots of opportunities for players on both sides to get winded with this breakneck pace. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
Definitely lots of board rattling, and right here as a result of all that hitting we've seen so far in this game, a slack comes loose on the boards, but nobody's injured, no problem there. And these two teams just really making exciting hockey to watch. Both teams playing very well in their own defensive zone. River Otters, especially Anthony Capoletti, has made a number of great defensive plays so far in this game. Kevin Schmidt on the other side for the Fort Wayne Komets. A couple of just great subtle poke checks that have broken up River Otters 2-on-1s, including the one we just almost had with Lonnie Loach trying to spring Darren Kimball a moment ago.
Face off inside of the River Otters end. Kimball against Grills. Kimball wins it back to Shabert, far side for Capoletti. Capoletti at center for Kimball, on ahead for Loach. He's in on a breakaway. He fakes. He's tied up by Severson, and a penalty upcoming. Loach gets hauled down. Hooking will be the call on Severson, and he was just about in with a backhand shot on Fillion. The River Otters will go on their first Equity Lending Group power play. Contact Tom Putman and the folks at Equity Lending Group for no money down mortgages. 314-514-8888. 314-514-8888. Tom Putman and the folks at Equity Lending Group. 314-514-8888. Hooking the call on Severson.
Well, first we had a great outlet pass from the River Otters blue line up for Kimball. Kimball was trying to return the favor. Loach almost sprung him on a break. Now Kimball sends him on the breakaway. Loach coming in, tries to go from post to post, to go from his forehand, fakes on the forehand on the short side, and then go to the long side with his backhand, and just was taken down.
Here's Goodmanson, left point to Loach. Morano, Ritson, and White Cotton up front on the power play. All forwards for the River Otters. Far side, White Cotton trying to fight off Schmidt. Gets pretty much hugged and hammered to the far wall. Now Morano pries it free in front. Ritson, one-time shot. Oh, and a stick save there by Fillion. Left point, here is Loach. In deep, Ritson deflected, and a great stop by Fillion. Now played off the inboards, Ritson to Morano. Looking out front for White Cotton. He's all alone now. Loach trying to sneak in. Now Ritson, he stuck in there, and it was in the slot, but he partially fanned on it far side. They can't clear it out. Goodmanson, high slot to Loach with time. Cannon to drive. Score! scores! Lonnie Loach! Oh, what a goal! 1-0 River Otters on a howitzer from Loach! Woo!
What a goal. What a shot from Lonnie Loach. River Otters moving the puck very well around the perimeter. Fort Wayne falling back in the tight box, just right in front of their goaltender, Fillion. This time, as the puck went out to Lonnie Loach, all the Fort Wayne players collapsed in one tiny spot right in front of Fillion, and that's because of Joe Ritson. Ritson went in front, trying to create some action and some chaos in front of Fillion, and he did just that. All four Fort Wayne players in front of the net, along with Joe Ritson. Lonnie Loach saw all that chaos in front and figured, well, heck, I'll just let go of howitzer, and he did that up top. Perfect shot in the top corner. Unbelievable. And the River Otters leading this one 1-0.
Loach is 28th, Goodmanson and Wycott, and they have scored in their last two power play attempts. 1-for-1 last night, 1-for-1 here tonight. In their previous 4 games before last night, they were scoreless in those 4 contests. And again, look who's back in the lineup for the River Otters, helping out that power play unit, Dustin Wycott. 1-0 River Otters, 2:40 to go in the opening period. David Mays ahead for Gauthier. Gauthier will fire it off the far wall, in deep. Penalty upcoming here is Voss. Now Gauthier getting on Voss, pushing and shoving. The benches are the River Otters bench getting in there trying to fight off Gauthier. Voss pretty much got jumped right in front of the River Otters bench. Now some pushing and shoving by the players on the ice. Gauthier wanting to get back at Voss. Gauthier is hot, and Curtis Voss got jumped, and this should favor the River Otters after all this, I would think.
Well, Curtis Voss got the short end of the stick on a similar play earlier on in the period where Michelle Massey attacked the River Otters player, and Voss came to his aid. Now this time, they go after Curtis Voss, and Gauthier just kept on hammering away at the back of Curtis Voss' head as he was caught vulnerable. His back turned Gauthier, and he was bent halfway over the bench there, so Gauthier just jumped him. Voss didn't really have much chance to do anything on that one, and I would be very surprised if these two penalties are even.
Well, Koharski talking things over with one of the linesmen, veteran linesmen in the United Hockey League, Jerry Burks. 1-0, River Otters lead it. Lonnie Loach getting his 28th of the year. We're going to let them sort this out. Come back here at the Family Arena. This is River Otters Hockey on 99.9 KFAB.
Are you looking for a physician? One who's close to home? At SSM St. Joseph Health Center in St. Charles and SSM St. Joseph Hospital West in Lake St. Louis, we offer primary care, pediatrics, and numerous specialties right here in your own backyard. In fact, we're the largest providers of health care in St. Charles, Warren, Lincoln, and Pike counties. Please call our physician referral line at 1-800-SSM-DOCS to find a doctor that's just right for you and your family. For information, please visit our website at ssmstjoseph.com.
Jim and Sheila Bleckley invite you to enjoy your shopping at O'Fallon Plaza, located in the heart of the Westplex. Quality stores, big variety. The O'Fallon Plaza, just north of I-70 on Highway M in O'Fallon. Go Otters!
This is Missouri River Otters Hockey.
And welcome back to the Family Arena. 17:28 into the first period, just 2.5 left. Gauthier looks like he's going to get a double minor. What is Curtis Voss going to get for the River Otters? It looks like, Joe Richter, that it's going to end up shaking out in the favor of the River Otters. Gauthier is actually going to get 5 for fighting, a 10-minute misconduct, and a minor for high sticking and instigating. Wow. So Gauthier gets 19 minutes in penalties in that sequence, and Voss just gets 5 for fighting. So that's a 4-minute power play for the River Otters, and that's a huge help and a big undisciplined play by one of the leaders on this Fort Wayne Komets team.
Derek Gauthier through 59 games for the Fort Wayne Komets, now 20 goals, 16 assists, 36 points and a +9, but also 148 penalty minutes. This is a really good all-around guy for this team, and they're really going to miss him. Not a bad trade-off, nothing against Curtis Voss, but if you look at the total stats here, Derek Gauthier definitely has outplayed Voss in regards to production-wise, but also Derek Gauthier scored 6 first goals. Of course, we mentioned how Fort Wayne's a team that likes to get on top early, and Gauthier is one of those guys that has helped them do that this year. So a great play by Curtis Voss. He took this guy off the ice for pretty much half the game now.
17:28, so 2 for high sticking, 2 for instigating. 5 for fighting, and a 10-minute misconduct for Gauthier, and Voss just 5 for fighting. So a 4-minute power play for the River Otters, and they're leading at 1-0 already on Loach's 28. Here's Goodmanson. He'll bring it out to center with speed. Left wing feed to Loach. Back over to Doug Searle. Searle now will chip it in, knocked down by Newmeyer, and he'll snap it right back down the ice. All these penalties we mentioned coming at 17:28 of the opening period. Loach will bring it to center. Gets to the red line, will fire the puck in around the boards. It goes. After it, Goodmanson back to the right point for Searle. Searle now out to Loach, left point, back to Searle. Searle now to the right circle, Goodmanson. Side in at Whitecotton, looking for help, tied up there by Newmeyer. Time for Mays to snap it off the far wall, but not out. Good job by Searle to hold in. Over to Lonnie Loach, back over to Goodmanson. He'll control it. 1:39 to go in the period. 3:08 left to go in the power play. Goodmanson trying to get it in front there for Whitecotton, and Whitecotton had it slip off his stick as he tried to work out in front of the net. Good puck movement.
Well, we talked about it last time with the River Otters puck movement. They moved around the perimeter very well because Fort Wayne fell into this really, really tight box in front of Martin Fillion, the goaltender for the Komets. This time, I think they learned their lesson after Lonnie Loach burned them with that rocket from the point as there was so much action in front of Fillion. They're playing a little bit more out, trying to pressure the puck handler, and it showed so far the River Otters having a little bit more trouble moving the puck.
Jarris right point will chip it in deep. Morano back out high to Capoletti. He'll fire a shot knocked down there by Severson, and he'll turn up ice with it shorthanded. Severson will flip it in deep. Regan will step out of the net and leave it there for Capoletti. 1:15 to go in the first period. River Otters up 1-0. Capoletti dancing out the center, near side for Perry. River Otters from our right to left, in deep for Whitecotton, heading in after it. He hammers Bertram into the end boards. Puck fired around the far wall by Schmidt. Jarris can't knock it down, and here comes Brill, 2-on-1 with Severson, short-handed. Severson lost the handle, fortunately for the River Otters. Near side, Capoletti knocked down, but took Severson off the puck, and now the River Otters pick it up and work it out to center. 20 seconds left in the first minor to Gauthier. Here's Capoletti backhanding it in deep. Schmidt there to pick it up, backhands it up the wall, and out to center ice. Here's Capoletti at the River Otters line, dropped off for Lonnie Loach. Loach now brings it up the left wing. He works it onside. We'll chip it in deep. Ritz and Whitecotton up front. Goodmanson and Searle out there as well. Here is Goodmanson, far side. We'll look in deep for Whitecotton. Set things up out high to Searle. Near side for Lonnie Loach. Loach now looking in behind the net. Goodmanson. Goodmanson now looking back to Loach. He'll take a one-time shot. Save Fillion. Rebound, and Fillion makes the stop as Whitecotton batted the effort out of midair after Fillion got the stop, but popped it kind of out in front of him, and Whitecotton went and batted at it.
Well, great work by the River Otters and what they needed to do here on this play. As we talked about earlier, the Fort Wayne Komets, instead of playing that tight box where the River Otters want to move it around and just get it out on the point and create some action in front and take the screen shot, now with them pressuring the puck carrier, River Otters want to try to draw one of their defensive players out of position like they just did there to get that scoring chance and then hit the guy in the open ice for the shot.
Ritson tripped up in the near corner. Now Morano back around the far side, but no one there for the River Otters. 10 to go in the period. Loach can't hold in. 5 now. Goodmanson will play it up to Morano. He'll take the shot in for Whitecotton. Here's a chance, though. Whitecotton wrist shot. Gloved down by Fillion, and that does it for period number 1. The River Otters have a minute and a half left on the power play when they come back for period number 2. Lonnie Loach's 28th has made it 1-0 after 1 with Fort Wayne. And a very sound first period for the River Otters. Coming up in our TheCountyCalendar.com first intermission report, we visit with former River Otter and now owner of St. Louis Pizza and Wings, Kevin Plager, one of our sponsors of our restaurant T-shirt night tonight, which went to the first 1,000 adults. Joe Richter with a period recap upcoming in a few moments, and then a look at our out-of-town scoreboard. 1-0 River Otters over Fort Wayne after 1. This is River Otters Hockey on 99.9 KFAV.
There are thousands of websites where you can see financial information, hundreds of books and magazines you can read. But while information is important, what really matters is what you do with it. That's where Waddell & Reed can help. We offer personal planning through our financial advisors across the country. Combined with our acclaimed investment products, this means you don't have to search everywhere to learn about your financial options. Waddell & Reed, investing with a plan.
For all your insurance and investing needs, call me, Darryl Lackey, 636-936-8901. Go Otters.
The Access Care Card from SSM St. Joseph takes the hassle out of the registration process. Just one swipe of a special card and all your personal information is automatically and instantly updated in our hospital computer system at both locations, St. Joseph Health Center in St. Charles and St. Joseph Hospital West in Lake St. Louis. Get your Access Care card today by calling 636-947-5493. Or if you prefer, you can apply for the Access Care card online by visiting our website at ssmstjoseph.com.
I am tired of sending out my rent check every month only to have nothing to show for it.
Stop renting. Call Equity Lending Group and let them turn that rent check into a payment for your new home, and often with no money down. Call 514-8888.
I'm confused because there are so many mortgage companies advertising right now.
Many of those mortgage companies are branches from big out-of-towners, but Equity Lending Group is right here in St. Louis with convenient personal service.
Is now the right time to refinance?
Absolutely. Interest rates are very low right now. Most people who call Equity Lending Group find that refinancing will cost them absolutely nothing.
So if I can lower my monthly payment with no closing cost, why wouldn't I do it?
Just call Equity Lending Group at 514-8888. Lower monthly payment, no out-of-pocket costs to do it. Why wouldn't you do it?
What if I'm over my minutes on my cell phone?
Okay, that's it. Right now, get out your little cell phone there and call Equity Lending Group at 514-8888. They can help you get a mortgage and or refinance with no out-of-pocket expense. Equity Lending Group, 514-8888.
Today, you'll find a lot of companies who say they can help you create a financial plan. And you'll find even more who want to sell you mutual funds. But wouldn't it make sense to talk to someone with a proven track record of doing both? Like your local financial advisor at Waddell & Reed. Waddell & Reed has been providing sound advice and solid investment products for over 60 years. Waddell & Reed, investing with a plan.
For all your insurance and investing needs, call me, Darryl Lackey, 636-936-8901. Go Otters.
Don't drink and drive. The price is too high. For a small fee, you and your friends and family can enjoy a worry-free trip to the casinos or other special events. Now is the perfect time to call M&M Limousine Service to book those upcoming holiday parties and weddings. Flat rates are available with special rates for teens and seniors. When the occasion calls for a limo, you should call M&M Limousine Service at 636-734-8439. That's 636-734-8439.
Attention racing fans, it's new and now open daily for you. It's the Race Shop on West Pierce Boulevard next to Subway in Wentzville. You'll thrill to the great selection of NASCAR racing apparel and die-cast collectibles. Every day is race day at the Race Shop.
Jim and Sheila Bleckley invite you to enjoy your shopping at O'Fallon Plaza, located in the heart of the Westplex. Quality stores, big variety. The O'Fallon Plaza, just north of I-70 on Highway M in O'Fallon. Go Otters!
You're listening to thecountycalendar.com intermission report. Missouri River Otters hockey.
Welcome back to the Family Arena and our thecountycalendar.com first intermission report. The River Otters off to a great start here at the Family Arena. 1-0 the score after a period of play against the dreaded Fort Wayne Komets. Hello, my name is Joe Richter. Thanks for joining us for our thecountycalendar.com first intermission report. Coming up in our report, after we go over that great first period for the River Otters, David Rack is going to sit down with one of my heroes, Kevin Plager, former River Otter, and now with the St. Louis Pizza and Wings, one of the sponsors of tonight's restaurant T-shirt night, a great giveaway for the first 1,000 adults here at the Family Arena. And then after that, I'll get you caught up on all the out-of-town scores in the United Hockey League, including the big game in Muskegon where the Flint Generals are visiting the Fury. Of course, Flint is 3 points ahead of the Missouri River Otters for that fourth and final playoff spot in the Western Conference. And, of course, tonight's opponent, the Fort Wayne Komets, are 5 points ahead of the River Otters. They're in third place in the West. So this is a really big game for the River Otters now with 8 games left after tonight in the regular season. They need to pick up a big win tonight in order to maybe get back into the playoff race here. Starting tonight, they off to a great start as we want them to come out with that playoff attitude, and we certainly have seen the River Otters out shooting the Fort Wayne Komets 12-3 in that first period of play, including killing off 3 power plays for the Komets. That's incredible stats right there, where the River Otters only giving up 3 shots to the Komets, even though they've had 3 power plays. So just a great first period for the River Otters as they played physical. They moved the puck well. They skated hard. This is what we want them to come out with. And they also got on the board first. It would take them a while, 16:54 into the first period. It would be the veteran, Lonnie Loach, gets his 28th goal of the season. It was a great play. White Cotton steals the puck, gives an outlet pass up to Gudmundsson. Gudmundsson then springs Loach from the red line to the blue line. Loach takes the puck across the blue line, And just a beautiful shot. It's White Cotton behind the net, finds Goodmanson. Goodmanson looks out to the point. Once again, we were talking about on the penalty kill how the Fort Wayne Komets like to fall back in a very tight box in front of the goaltender, Martin Fillion, and they did just that. Jason Goodmanson looking out top, found Lonnie Loach wide open, and once again, all that traffic in front. Joe Ritson goes right to the net, creating even more chaos. Lonnie Loach sees that Martin Fillion, the goaltender for the Fort Wayne Komets, isn't going to be able to see the puck, so he lets go a rocket, and it was up high, right into the top corner. A beautiful shot. His 28th of the year from Goodmanson and Wycott in 16:54. A power play goal gives the River Otters a 1-0 lead. And that's where we stand. The River Otters on top, 1-0 over the Fort Wayne Komets after a period of play. As I said, Fort Wayne goes 0 for 3 on the power play. The River Otters did get a power play goal with Loach's 28th. They go 1 for 2 and still have another one pending with Gauthier in the box for 19 minutes of penalties after he scrapped with Curtis Voss. And once again, River Otters out shooting Fort Wayne 12-3 in that first period of play. Now we'll take a quick break on our TheCountyCalendar.com first intermission report. When we come back, David the Iceman. After 2 periods of play, we have a 1-1 score. The Iceman and the Jackals tied at 1 after 1. Next up, we have the Adirondack Ice Hawks. They're New Haven facing the Knights after a period of play. New Haven Knights are leading that one 3-2 over the Ice Hawks. Next up, we have the Kalamazoo Wings in Port Huron facing the Border Cats after a period of play. No score from Port Huron. And we have the Asheville Smoke in Quad City facing the Mallards. Mallards going for win number 49 on the season. They are leading 3-0, well on their way to get number 49 tonight. Leading 3-0 over the Asheville Smoke. Next up is Knoxville Speed in Rockford facing the Ice Hogs, the 2 worst teams in the United Hockey League. Those teams are tied at 1 after a period of play. And finally, the big game on the docket, the Flint Generals, 3 points ahead of the River Otters for the 4th final playoff spot in the West. They're in Muskegon facing the Fury, and the Fury trying to help us out. They're leading 3-0 after a period of play. That's our TheCountyCalendar.com first intermission report. We'll be right back with a drop of the puck in the second period. The River Otters leading 1-0 over the Fort Wayne Komets. Listen to River Otters Hockey on 99.9 KFAB.
Smoking Q, All-American Barbecue.
Hi, this is Carol with Smoking Q, All-American Barbecue in Wentzville, Missouri. We want you to know we've just added open pit barbecue, just like you make outside at home. Burgers, pork steaks, chicken, brats, and from the hill salsiccia, grilled over charcoal and hickory and drenched in our famous Q sauce. Barbecue burgers, $3.75. Pork steaks, $4.50.
Gotta have my barbecue.
Jim and Sheila Bleckley invite you to enjoy your shopping at O'Fallon Plaza, located in the heart of the Westplex. Quality stores, big variety. The O'Fallon Plaza, just north of I-70 on Highway M in O'Fallon. Go Otters!
Missouri River Otters hockey.
And welcome back to the Family Arena. Second period action is upon us. 1-0. River Otters lead it after 1 period of play. Loach is 28th on the power play. Gave the River Otters that 1-0 lead, and that's where we start on an Equity Lending Group power play. River Otters from our left to right here to start things off. Tom Putman and the folks at Equity Lending Group, 314-514-8888, 314-514-8888. Tom Putman and the folks at Equity Lending Group, no money down mortgages, 314-514-8888. Here's Wycott, near corner, off for Goodmanson. Goodmanson now looks back to the right point for Searle. Searle now snaps it to Wycott, one touch for Goodmanson. Controlling back in deep, Wycott side of the net, out front, one touch pass, Loach shot it wide of the net, far boards. Wycott has it now along the circle. Wycott dropped it off for Lonnie Loach. Loach looks things over from the left point. 50 to go in the power play. River Otters up 1-0 early second period. Here's Goodmanson from Loach. Goodmanson looking cross ice, actually down low to Ritson instead. Ritson trying to cut out front, out high to Loach. He'll fire a shot through a screen save. Fillion rebound. Goodmanson out front to Wycott, but Fillion covering up for the whistle and the stoppage in play. And Joe Richter, it looked like it was a River Otters power play unit that had trouble deciding what it wanted to do there.
And it has a lot to do with Fort Wayne, as we talked about in the last period at the end there, where when we scored our first goal on the power play, Fort Wayne was playing more of a tight box. Now they're coming out and challenging the player with the puck, and it's making the River Otters have to rush their decisions. Now what they're going to need to do, as we said late in the last period, is try to maybe draw one of those forwards out of position or anybody out of position on the Fort Wayne Komets team and find an open man with some open space for a good scoring chance, and they'll try to do it right here.
River Otters, Searle, wrist shot from the right point, saves Fillion as he kicks it away. Left point, Loach firing a drive, and it goes just wide. Here's Searle, can't hold in at the right point. Puck squirts out to center ice, and now Loach will circle back in the River Otters end for it. Far side to Scott Perry. Perry now, River Otters from our left to right. They dish in, Moreno heading in after it. Mays in along the end boards, picking things up, chips it around the near side. Virag chopping it out through center ice, and Loach heading back for it in the River Otters end to pick it up. The Komets now are at full strength as Massey heads out there. Puck snapped in from the center red line around the boards it goes, and will this be icing? And yes, it will, as Desjardins touches up a minute 35 into the second period. 1-0, River Otters lead it. Loach is 28 the difference. Back at 16:54, the first restaurant T-shirt night here at the Family Arena. Pleasure to have Kevin Plager as our guest in the first intermission. TheCountyCalendar.com first intermission report. King Edwards, Mike Hickman, the owner of King Edwards Fried Chicken, will be our guest in the second intermission. And, of course, other sponsors, Pheasant Run Golf Course and Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill. The first 1,000 adults received that restaurant T-shirt night, and a beauty it was. Far corner, Desjardins in behind the River Otters net. Severson too far. Catches up to it along the near boards. Back in deep, trying to look for Logan. Chopped away by Whitecott, and the River Otters clearing it all the way down the ice as Schmidt heads back for it. A touch-up for the icing call here. River Otters out shooting the Fort Wayne Komets 14-3. 14-3. That really gives you an indication of how prepared the River Otters were coming into this game.
And that's with 3 power plays for the Fort Wayne Komets in the first period. The River Otters just suffocated their power plays. Just doing a great job. Of course, River Otters, of course, have the best home penalty killing record in the league, killing off 90.2% of opposing teams' power plays.
Quick shot by Logan off the draw, but a quick whistle by the linesman, and we'll drop the puck again between Whitecott and Desjardins.
Desjardins moved his stick a little too early on that play, so they had to call one back.
Well, it was Desjardins in Knoxville, and now I guess they're going to the French pronunciation, Desjardins, which is probably how I would have pronounced it originally, but I was, told it was Desjardins. So we'll go with Desjardins now. Whitecott kicks the puck out through center. Heading back for it, Schmidt. This should be icing again as Schmidt touches up, and it is. And we get a whistle and a stoppage in play. This season, the good folks at Century Motors are giving you a chance to be the River Otters Super Fan of the game. Come to Century Motors to register for the Super Fan prize, and you can win 4 T-shirts and 4 tickets to an upcoming River Otters game. Century Motors, your home of the No Dicker sticker and the River Otters Super Fan of the game. Visit the Century Motors online at www.centurymotor.com or give them a call at 636-332-2800. Century Motors of Wentzville. Face off won by the River Otters. Chipped her on the far wall. Schmidt pinching in, knocks it in behind the River Otters. And now here's Schabbert for Missouri. He'll stick handle out in front of his own goal. Schabbert off ahead for Goodmanson. He'll work it up the right wing. Goodmanson and across the line for Ritson. In front of wrist shot. Oh, and he looked to pass it first and then let a wrist shot go as Schabbert heading to the net. Now Severson the other way up. Blocker stopped by Regan. Near boards, here's Marshall. In deep for Severson behind the net. Gets hammered there by Capoletti. Severson stays on his skates, though, still has the puck. Far corner, Severson drops it off there for Michelle Massey. Back in deep for Grills, tied up by Schabbert. Grills trying to get free as Schabbert has him all tied up. Now it's Michelle Massey. Massey trying to work away from Capoletti. Capoletti up the wall to Whitecott. Now Goodmanson back to Whitecott, and they get to center. River Otters from our left to right. Up the far wall, Goodmanson will chip it in. River Otters will begin a line change. 3:05 into the second period, 1-0 River Otters. Puck snapped to center by Newmeyer up the left wing. Kelly Miller will work in across the line down to the circle. Roll low wrist shot, and Regan makes the stop and holds on there. Miller, great opportunity and has lots of speed once he turns those jets on.
Yeah, he killed us earlier on in the season here at the Family Arena, scoring 2 goals against this River Otters team with just that speed. He caught the River Otters flat-footed last time, just taking off with the puck. As soon as he got the puck, he just took off. Right there, he tried to do the same thing, but the River Otters were ready for it this time, staying with him the whole way. And he did get a decent scoring chance, but Brian Regan guarding the post, giving nothing to shoot at.
Face off to Regan's right. Grills and Blythe, one there by the River Otters. Tony White will take it in behind his net. White now looks things over. Will snap it far side to Charlie Blythe. Blythe now will maneuver to center with speed. Blythe will snap it in. Too far for Perry. Out of the net, Fillion will snap it around the near wall. Here is Massey bringing it to center for Fort Wayne. He'll snap it ahead for Grills, trying to chop it by Tony White. Can't. Jarrett's there to help out as he swats it free. And Tony White will work it up to center now. Left wing feed to Murley. Murley now to Blythe. Back to Murley. Cuts in alone. He shoots. Fillion makes the big stop. Rebound. They score! Charlie Blythe on the rebound. Knocks it in. 2-0 River Otters.
Charlie Blythe, the guy who just works and works and works and works. He can do everything but put it in net. Now gets his 7th goal of the season. And once again, it's because of the hard work from Charlie Blythe. Brandon Murley starts to play, tries to go from the far side to the near side as River Otters going left to right in the second period. Murley on the half break, fakes the forehand shot on the far side, goes across the crease and tries to stuff it in backhand, trying to open up the legs of the goaltender, Fillion. Fillion makes the first stop, but the rebound comes right out to Blythe as River Otters crash the net, and Blythe puts it up high for his 7th of the year.
Blythe 7th from Murley and Tony White at .350. Last night, Tony White had 2 assists. And good job on the outlet feed, creating the transition. I am just impressed, Joe Richter, with the nose for the net that Brandon Murley has. He's probably had 5 good scoring opportunities over the past 2 nights and nearly had his 2nd goal in his 2nd game with the River Otters.
Well, he's a big, strong guy, 6'1", 195, and a lot of that weight is in those thighs. He has huge legs, and of course that translates into a lot of strength around the net. And as you said, that helps by going to the net. Murley's going to be a very good acquisition for this River Otters team going into the playoffs.
Here's Hughes at center. Will fire the puck back in around the boards. It goes Marshall there. River Otters up 2-0. Blythe 7th. Murley and Tony White the assist. 3:50 the time of the goal. David Rack and Joe Richter with you from the Family Arena. Virag backhands it to center. Hughes swats it right back into Fort Wayne end. Bobby Marshall there. Will maneuver away from traffic. Head to Cermak. Chipped out to center. Here's a chance for Virag trying to get away from Searle and alone. A backhand shot, and he put it wide. Far boards, here's Morano. Picks it up, snaps it over to Jason Hughes. River Otters from our left to right. Hughes to the red line near side. Head for Lochin across the line. Down to the circle, now too far for Kimball. The pass in along the end boards. Kimball hammers Mays off the puck in there to help out Morano. Knocked down by Virag. Morano gets back to his skates, trying to fight for the puck. Chipped out front, loose there. Here's Marshall having trouble, but able to just snap it out to center ice. Jason Hughes can't get to it. Regan steps out of his net, swats it head for Hughes. In for Morano, 2-on-1 with Whitecotton back in front. Morano chipped away. Morano has it out front. Whitecotton along the shot. Rebound shot. He put it just wide. Near boards. Here is Desjardins. Up to center ice for Jim Logan. Logan now ahead for Severson. Broken up. Goodmanson back the other way. Looks things over. Good right wing feed. Ritson across the line. Big shot save. Fillion. Rebound chip to the far wall. Here's Whitecotton. Back in deep behind the net for Ritson. Out front for Goodmanson. Chopped off the stick. Ritson trying to get it back. Marshall. Backhands it up the wall. Severson backhands it out to center, but Shabbat there for the River Otters to send it right back in. Here's David May is firing the puck back down the ice. And there to touch up for the icing call is Capoletti. 5:31 on here in the second period. 2-0 River Otters over Fort Wayne. This is River Otters hockey on 99.9 KFAB.
Today, you'll find a lot of companies who say they can help you create a financial plan. And you'll find even more who want to sell you mutual funds. But wouldn't it make sense to talk to someone with a proven track record of doing both? Like your local financial advisor at Waddell & Reed. Waddell & Reed has been providing sound advice and solid investment products for over 60 years. Waddell & Reed, investing with a plan.
For all your insurance and investing needs, call me, Darryl Lackey, 636-936-8901. Go Otters.
Surrey River Otters hockey.
And welcome back to the Family Arena. 2-0 River Otters lead it. Just about 6 minutes into the second period. Capoletti in front of his own net off the near wall for Ritson. Ritson held up there by Bertram, helping out Capoletti. Will clear it to center ice. Schmidt back at the Fort Wayne line. Will control. They'll snap it off the far wall. Back towards the Missouri line. Shabbat ahead for Whitecotton. Now Goodmanson as the River Otters skate from our left to right here. Goodmanson trying to work it up the far wall. Can't take it away. And wristed back in deep in the River Otters end. Capoletti out the end boards. Had it taken away by Grills. Grills now near side. Out to the far point for Mays. Can't control it. Just barely. No, he didn't hold it in. And the Komets have to circle back at center ice to regroup. Puck snapped in deep off the end boards. Getting it is Troy Newmeyer for Fort Wayne. The River Otters in the midst of a line change. Blythe out there with Perry and Brandon Murley. Chopped off the wall. Blythe trying to pry it free with help from Murley. Now Perry chopping at it, trying to work it in front. Now Murley, a shot. Oh, big save. Fillion there on Murley. A great job to get himself in position to take a shot. The puck knocked out to center ice. Here's Massey, 2-on-1 with Newmeyer, who jumps into the play. Massey fires a shot. Big stop there. Regan rebound to the far corner. Here is Mike Jerison behind the River Otters net. He'll control it out in front of his own goal. 7 minutes into period number 2, 2-0 River Otters. Perry to the red line will fire it in. River Otters begin a line change. Fillion can't stop it up. Now Tony White just off the bench chips it in deep. And it's taken there by David Mays out in front of his own net. Snaps it off the near wall. Here's Kelly Miller trying to clear it out to center ice. Back in his own end for Newmeyer. Up the far right wing to Massey. He dumps it in as he's knocked by Jason Hughes. Jarris back in the near River Otters end near side out to center. To the red line, he'll fire it in off the far wall. Out of the net, Martin Fillion sets it up there for Bobby Marshall. Marshall now will control it behind his net for Brent Gretzky. Now Marshall. Get it back from Gretzky out in front of his own goal to the red line. They'll snap it ahead for Virag, who chips it in. Regan out of his net will snap the puck around the far side. Trying to knock it down to Cermak. Can't. Now Loach will spin and look up ice for Jason Hughes. He'll work through the center circle. Hughes to the blue line will snap it in around the boards. It goes. Far wall. Here is Wycott just off the bench. Now Goodmanson, but they can't control, and Searle will head back in the River Otters end for it. Doug Searle snaps it near side for Hughes. Nice job to chip it out to center ahead for Ritson. Ritson now, it's going to be a two-line offside pass if he touches it, and he does, and the whistle and the face-off will come back in or just outside of the River Otters end here, 8:07 into the second period.
Well, Charlie Blythe, with that goal, his 7th of the season. He hadn't scored since February the 22nd of this year, almost a month. Of course, Charlie was a healthy scratch last night, and we know it's not because of lack of effort. Charlie's a guy who is always going full speed after every puck he can. And, of course, aside from injured forwards, he was the last guy. He was had the longest wait in between goals there for any River Otters forward. Him not scoring since February the 22nd, but it's good to see him get the puck in the net. Of course, he's going to need to do that in order to stay on this roster. The River Otters is getting better and better.
Here's Hughes trying to chip it out to center ice ahead for Ritson. Actually circles back in his own end for Searle now. Searle ahead for Wycott. Chipped up for Goodmanson. Knocked down. Now Ritson trying to get in there, but Desjardins steals and snaps it back at the River Otters end. Flipped out to center ice there by Searle. Newmeyer right back in with it for Fort Wayne. Here is Jason Hughes for the River Otters, picking it up behind the Missouri net. He'll snap it off the near wall for Ritson. Ritson now out at center with it. He'll push it ahead with help from Wycott, and they'll snap it in. Wycott gets to it near wall, over to Ritson. High slot, firing a shot. Glove save there by Fillion, and you cannot let Joe Ritson wind up like he did there. Big stop by Martin Fillion as he got the trapper out on that one.
Well, Joe Ritson is always dangerous for the puck no matter where he is, but he's extremely dangerous when you give him time, like you said, to wind up, and especially from one of the face-off circles. That's a good angle to shoot from, as it sometimes is hard for the goaltender to pick out how to cut down the angle. Sometimes you catch a goaltender coming out, and maybe when he comes out, catch him cheating to a side, and that's what Ritson was trying to do. Maybe catch him cheating.
Face off to the left of Fillion, one there by the Komets. Bobby Marshall will control. He'll snap it ahead at center. Good outlet feed up the right wing to Kelly Miller, trying to work in. Broken up by Murley the other way. Good pass ahead for Voss, but it slipped off his stick. Mays will backhand it right into the River Otters end. Now Blythe at the red line will snap it into the River, or rather Fort Wayne zone. Here's Bobby Marshall back there. He'll stick handle out in front of his own net. Outlet feed up the far wall for Grills. Chopped back the other way by Schabbert. Now controlling his Mays. Snaps it near side for Marshall. Marshall now lost it in his skates. Had time to get it back. Ahead for Chad Grills. Grills, nice dish ahead for Miller. He'll work in on left wing. Miller trying to sidestep Capoletti. Low risk shot. Deflected away from the goal by Capoletti near board. Voss to get it. Hammered there by Massey up the wall. Blythe now will wrist it out through center ice off the far wall. Icing should be waved off and is here. Murley gets tripped up by Grills. No call. Fillion will clear it up and out to center ice. Murley has to get back on side and still getting himself back into game shape. He'll step off for a quick change here. Far boards. Here's Mays trying to snap it ahead. Dumped into the River Otters end. Regan out of his net will leave it there for Jarris and actually decide to play it around the boards. Gretzky knocks it down, chips it back in deep on the River Otters net. Jarris will play it around the near side for Voth out at center. Heading back towards Cermak in the Fort Wayne end. Under 10 to go here in the second period. 2-0 River Otters. Blythe 7th at 3:50 has given the River Otters a 2-0 lead. Loach trying to work in front, broken up. Tony White a chance. Pad stop Fillion. Jarris a shot, broke a stick. Fillion the save. Rebound. Moreno stopped on the doorstep as he just let it wide. Jarris' stick broke. Hughes will step out on the ice for him. Jarris' stick broke in half. Near side, here's Morano. Can't get the puck away from Schmidt, who chopped it ahead to Gretzky, who brings it to center with speed. In on left wing, Gretzky trying to get by 20 White and center it for Cermak. Lost the handle, passed partially behind Cermak, and then fires it back in deep behind the River Otters net for Gretzky. Now Virag, back to Gretzky. Side of the net, Gretzky looks it over. Gretzky back to the left point, Mays. Wrist shot through a screen. Regan the save. Rebound. Chipped away by Kimball, but not out. Back in behind the net it goes. Here's Gretzky looking in front. 20 White there to pick it off his stick and actually plays it right into the Fort Wayne bench for a whistle and a stoppage in play. We'll take a break and be right back here at the Family Arena. 2-0. River Otters lead it. This is River Otters hockey on 99.9 KFAV.
KFAV, playing today's hot country favorite every hour, all day, all night, and bringing you award-winning news, sports, and weather when you need it for the Westplex. With 99.9 KFAV, Warrenton, O'Fallon, Troy.
This is Missouri River Otters hockey.
And welcome back to the Family Arena. Period number 2, 9 minutes left. River Otters up 2-0 over Fort Wayne. They skate from our left to right. Hughes up the far side will bring it to center. Jason Hughes ahead to Goodmanson with speed across the line. Swept off his stick by Troy Newmeyer for Fort Wayne. Near side, Mays up the wall. Whitecott knocked it down. Flipped it back in deep for Ritson with help from Goodmanson. Back up to Whitecott, but he can't control, and Mays will clear it to center. Head for Severson. He'll chip it in deep. Heading back forward is Hughes. Regan out of the net actually gets there first. Chips it up the wall for Whitecott. Head for Ritson. He'll knock it down and bring it to center for Goodmanson with speed. Goodmanson trying to get by Newmeyer and across the line. Good pass over to Searle. Searle far boards will sweep it in deep in the backhand of River Otters. Begin a line change. Here's Mays for Fort Wayne. Works away from Joe Ritson out in front of his own net. A backhander ahead for Logan. Good outlet feed. Logan gets it swept off his stick by Shabert. Now Capoletti trying to backhand it up the wall. Now it's a low shot there by Desjardins. Saved by Regan, and Whitecott will bring it out in front of his own net. Snap to center, too far for Perry. And heading back for it, Bobby Marshall for Fort Wayne with time. Snaps it off the far wall out to neutral ice. Capoletti ahead for Blythe. River Otters get in on side. Blythe trying to work it down the near wing for Murley. Murley trying to fight through a check from Schmidt. Murley with help from Charlie Blythe. Trying to spin away from Bobby Marshall, who has him tied up. Murley trying to freeze that puck with Schmidt along the boards, and finally they get their wish from the referee, Jamie Koharski. River Otters out shooting Fort Wayne 22-8 for the game, and 10-5 in this second period. The River Otters just one of the best performances we have seen to this point. And I say this point because the River Otters have been famous for not putting in 60-minute efforts, Joe Richter. But
we need this team to continue to play like this. This is what we were looking for. We talked about it in pregame. We want them to play with that playoff attitude, and this right here is where the playoffs start.
Speaking of playoffs, we have an all-star performer joining us in the broadcast booth here. Steve Casper, of course, the owner and radio guru at KFAV, finally making it out to a River Otters game. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. We're having a great time. We've got the family out here tonight, and, you know, this is really quite an achievement for St. Charles County and the Westplex area, and the Missouri River Otters are doing a great job. Good crowd here tonight at the Family Arena, and what a great game.
It's a heck of a game. This is a big playoff game for the River Otters. They have to beat Fort Wayne to get that much closer to that final playoff spot, and if we win tonight and Flint loses, we'll be a point out of that fourth and final playoff spot.
I tell you what, the team is playing great tonight, and you know, just in general, they're playing their heart out. Of course, we're up to 2-0, so let's hope we can hold on to this. Right now, I can see the Missouri River Otters are actually, I think, having more time at their net, and it looks like it's they're really putting the pressure on.
How many hockey games have you seen, Steve Casper? Is this one of your?
This is the second game hockey game I've ever seen, to be honest with you.
Oh wow! And do you like the sport of hockey? Do you like the fast-paced nature to it?
Yeah, of course I've seen it on TV quite a bit, but it's nothing like being right here on the ice, and everybody knows that that's ever been to a hockey game. I'm sure I can tell that just instinctively, but yeah, it's just totally different, and I think the organization's really entertaining everybody during the intermissions, and all the festivities are going on. The sponsorship from the Westplex area is very, very important, and we hope that we're a part of that as well at KFAV 99.9. So, folks, if you can't come to the Family Arena, do listen to 99.9 and catch all the games.
River Otters will dump the puck back in deep. Out of the net, Martin Fillion. That is Steve Casper, owner and radio guru from KFAV, joining us here in the broadcast booth. We'll talk to him here for a few more minutes as we move along through the period. 7 minutes left. David Rack and Joe Richter also. 2-0 River Otters. Here is Bertram firing it in for Fort Wayne. Around the boards, Kimball lets it go. Tony White, far side, will pick it up for the River Otters. Getting pestered there by Chad Grills. Flipped up the wall. Newmeyer gloves it down for Fort Wayne, right point. Trying to chip it back in deep. Kimball there for the River Otters. And now Scott Perry ahead for Kimball as they get it out to center. Right wing feed for Jarris. He'll work in across the line down to the circle. Jarris trying to sidestep Bertram, sending it through the slot, but about 2 feet in the air. And here's Virag back in behind the Fort Wayne net. He'll work away from Lonnie Loach up the wall. Kimball tries to knock it down now for Loach over to Morano. One-hands it, trying to get it away from Newmeyer, former teammate of his, and cannot. Now Morano gets it back far side. Will dump it in deep. Bertram steals and flips it back down the ice. Jason Hughes heading back for the touch-up for the whistle and the stoppage in play. Eric Morano and Troy Newmeyer, I mentioned those two teammates way back at the beginning of their career in Milwaukee, both property of the Vancouver Canucks. And Newmeyer played Milwaukee the first couple of seasons there with Eric Morano. Morano coming out of Denver, and Newmeyer coming out of the Western Hockey League with Prince Albert.
And both very veteran-type players, if you will. They know where to be on the ice. Newmeyer just solid in both ends of the ice. Eric Morano, we know, is just such a talented player and a lot of fun to watch.
Face-off won by Fort Wayne in their end. Here's Massey out in front of his own net. Right wing feed for Cermak at center. Working across the line down to the circle. Cermak trying to cut in. Good move, wrist shot, and he put it wide. He was upended in front of the net by Kimball and Searle just as he got to the goal. And the River Otters clearing it back down the ice as Marshall picks it up. Puck snapped out to center ice. Here's Logan. Logan now trying to get it ahead for Gretzky. And having trouble. River Otters dump it back in. Now it's Mays. Mays in behind the Fort Wayne net. Snaps it near side for Logan. Logan now will bring it out to center ice and dump it in the River Otters end. Here's Regan leaving it behind his net for Jason Hughes. Hughes now will look to snap it out to center ice. And does off the far wall. Goodmanson trying to get in after it. Can't. Newmeyer will pick it up on the Fort Wayne net ahead for Gretzky. Now it's Bertram taken away by Whitecott. Now Ritson flipped in deep for Whitecott. In along the inboards. Whitecott looking out front. He gets spun around there by Bertram. Now Whitecott. Now Goodmanson. Wrist shot. He scores! No, they're going to wave it off. They're going to wave it off. Goodmanson spun and fired it. The goal was actually sort of propped up on Fillion's back. Didn't have much of a chance on that. And they're going to say it's no goal. Very authoritatively, Jamie Koharski, the referee, waved it off. Mark Reeds and Koharski having a talk about why that was not a goal. And now we have Steve Casper on the headset. Yeah. So now we don't have to have you talk and not talk with the other microphone.
Well, very authoritatively, that should have been a goal. I don't know.
I agree, too. Well, that's the way we have to see it up here, don't we?
Absolutely. What a great shot here from the press box here at the Family Arena. David Rack doing a fantastic job on the play-by-play, I must say. You're one of the best guys I've ever heard, honestly. You're
well, thank you. And speaking of somebody who does a great job, your son working the controls back at the KFAV studios, Ryan. 5 minutes to go in the second period. 2-0 River Otters. Loach at his 28th on the power play in the first to make it 1-0. And then Blythe his 7th here early in the second to make it 2-0. Capoletti back at the River Otters end will control. That goal by Goodmanson waved off. So still 2-0. Capoletti works out in front of the River Otters net. River Otters from our left to right here. Goodmanson up the near side and across the line. Over to the near wall for Whitecotton. Penalty upcoming here on Fort Wayne as Whitecotton controls it, shovels it in behind the net. And we get a whistle and a stoppage in play. Splashing will be the call. And it looks like the River Otters are going to go on an equity lending group power play here. At 15:29, David Mays will go off for the slash at 15:29. So an Equity Lending Group power play. Contact Tom Putman and the folks at Equity Lending Group at 314-514-8888. 314-514-8888. David Mays off for the slash here at 15:29 as the River Otters go on their fourth Equity Lending Group power play. Steve Casper, what what else is going on at KFAV? I know you guys are always busy selling something, organizing some big event. I know you guys had a women's fair. Is that still upcoming, or has that already happened?
It's coming up Saturday, April 20th at Mid Rivers Mall, which is now Westfield Shopping Town.
Mid Rivers.
right. Everybody, I don't care what anybody says. They're still going to call it probably Mid Rivers Mall.
Here's Morano, a backhander in front. River Otters in the power play. Newmeyer steals and chips it out to center. Tell us a little more about that women's fair before River Otters bring the puck back in.
It's going to be fantastic. Saturday, April 20th. Ladies and gents, we're also going to give away a Carnival cruise for 4 days and 3 nights, David.
And that's at Westfield Shopping Town, Mid Rivers, April 20th.
Yep.
And that is a Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday, and free and open to the public.
Excellent. Here's Grills clearing it down the ice for Fort Wayne. River Otters' 4th power play. They're 1 for 3. Here's Doug Searle snapping it around the far side for Goodmanson. Goodmanson will bring it out to center ice. Up the far wall. Goodmanson pulls up away from traffic. He'll bring it in now. Chips it over to Ritson. He'll wrist it in behind the net. Fillion out of the net. Will try and clear the puck up the wall himself. Searle can't hold in. Now here's Gretzky. Short-handed the other way. Trying to get by Loach in front. And he's held up there. Regan makes the stop on Gretzky, who circled right off the bench and went to the races. Here's Ritson back the other way for the River Otters. Flipped in far corner. Goodmanson trying to get in after it. Far board's tied up by Miller. Now Goodmanson gets it back in deep for Ritson. 45 to go in the River Otters power play. They're up 2-0. Goodmanson, left point for Loach. He'll fire a shot deflected off a skate and over the end glass and into the crowd. 3:12 to go in the second period. 2-0 River Otters. This is River Otters hockey on 99.9 KFAV.
Don't drink and drive. Price is too high.
Say hello to your
For a
father.
small fee, you and your
Hey,
friends
Ryan,
and
you doing a
family
good
can
job.
enjoy a
Did you
worry-free
ever find
trip
that
to
other
casinos
media?
or other special events. Now is the
well,
perfect
I'll
time to
look
call
at that
M&M
tomorrow.
Limousine Service to book those upcoming holiday parties and weddings. Flat rates are available with
okay.
special rates for
Where you
teens and
gonna sit?
seniors. When the occasion calls
Right,
for a
right
limo,
down
you
here.
should call
To the,
M&M Limousine Service
left.
at
Oh, okay. Right down there in the club seat, right.
636-734-8439.
How much?
That's
Thank you.
636-734-8439.
I'd like to meet your wife. Bring her by before you guys leave.
This is Missouri River Otters hockey.
And welcome back to the Family Arena. 3:10 to go in the second period. 2-0 River Otters in the power play for another 35 seconds. Goodmanson gets hammered as he tried to work it in. And Bertram there spinning and swatting it down the ice. Regan leaves it there for Mike Jarris. Jarris now will pull it in behind the River Otters net. Jarris looks things over. Out in front of his own net now will stick handle it up the center. White Cotton now up the near wall. River Otters from our left to right. Taken away there by Desjardins. Trying to play it by White Cotton. Can't. Now Severson trying to chop it ahead. Tony White will steal in on left wing for Morano in front for White Cotton. Chipped away by Bertram trying to hammer it up the wall. Now Morano in front. Ritson. Wrist shot up high. Oh, he just missed the mark. Near boards. Here is Jarris. Near corner. Jarris in behind the net. Morano looking out front. Here's Tony White. Power play over. Wrist shot in front. Fillion on the save. Far board. Here's Morano back in front for White Cotton. And now Mays will bring it out to center ice after just coming on the ice and flip it in. Regan out of the net will sweep it up the near side for Tony White. I want to say hi to Dennis and Laura, Nick and Jesse, family and friends of Joe Ritson. Laura, his aunt, I know is a very loyal listener on the internet through the River Otters website, www.riverotters.com. You can head there for all things River Otters, especially to check out our new season ticket pricing. We've lowered season tickets for the second year in a row, really affordable. We have a $114 upper end zone seat, and that's great and affordable for families. Works out to be just $3 per seat. Steve Casper, I know that you have your family here tonight. Talk about just the entertainment and the atmosphere that you guys experience.
Well, I have my 8-year-old son, Trevor, and my 13-year-old son, he's 14 and 13, I can't remember, Alex Casper, and they're having a blast here tonight. They really, really are. They're getting the spirit of it. It's their very first hockey game, and what an honor to be here to see the Missouri River Otters live in action tonight, right here at the Family Arena in beautiful Westplex, St. Charles.
Kimball will serve the too many men penalty on the River Otters, the 4th power play of the night for Fort Wayne. And you, well, we'll talk about this hopefully here in the next stoppage and play, but talk about how much of a musician you are, Mr. Casper. I heard you perform once, and I heard you're a songwriter as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I sure am. I really enjoy that. That's a lot of my past, but currently just writing a lot of radio and TV jingles. I like to write a lot of jingles and perform, and Tom Lee from the Crazed Cowboys actually has a studio in St. Peter's and has been very helpful to me.
Excellent. Here's Bobby Marshall ahead to Gretzky. Fort Wayne on the power play. A minute and a half left in the period. Nearly that much left in the power play for the Komets. Their fourth. 0 for 3 thus far. Trailing it 2-0 to the River Otters. Gauthier far side. Finally back out on the ice after serving those 19 minutes in penalties. Searle chips it up the wall. Gretzky holds in left point. In deep for Grills. Grills now backhanded to the corner for Gauthier. Gauthier now trying to fire it off the end boards. Actually plays it over the end glass and into the crowd. Coming up on our thecountycalendar.com second intermission report, we'll visit with Mike Hickman of King Edward's Fried Chicken. Talk to him about sponsoring our restaurant t-shirt night. And we'll also have a period recap for you from Joe Richter. And we'll look at our out-of-town scoreboard around the UHL, hoping Flint is continuing to trail them as Keegan Fury with 3-0 at last check, and the River Otters leading it here 2-0. Well, what else do you guys have going on at the radio station that we can inform folks out about? Is the women's fair your big thrust right now?
It really is. It is the big thrust right now for the Westplex Women's Fair, again, open to the public. But, guys, you can come with your ladies, and, it's at the mall, so you can do anything. You guys can hang out at the sports shops, whatever you want to do. Oh, it's all going to be a center court. There'll be a fashion show. Like I said, people will register at the KFAV booth to win a cruise.
A Carnival Cruise. And that's April 20th, Westfield Shopping Town, Mid Rivers, the KFAV Women's Fair, correct?
That's absolutely correct.
Here is the Komets working it. Virag, near side, lost it. Capoletti up the far wall to Loach. 30 to go in the period. Wycott nearly sprung shorthanded by Loach. Great feed, but just slipped off his stick. Mays will send it the other way. Loach shot at center, stealing it right back. The River Otters trying to snap it ahead. Knocked down. Now Gretzky trying to play it in. Hughes right back out with it. Gauthier stood him up. And here's Morano back in shorthanded. A wrist shot off the leg. Morano trying to work it out front, but Cermak took it and brought it to center for the Komets. Gauthier, long drive. Regan the stop. Now Searle will pick it up. And the River Otters are at full strength, and that's just going to about do it for period number 2. The River Otters get one. Charlie Blythe 7th to make it 2-0. Steve Casper, we thank you for the time, sir, and appreciate you coming up and paying us a visit.
Well, thank you very much. One more thing real quickly. We do have a special cruise for our 11th anniversary planned. January 19th, 7 nights down in the Caribbean, and the lowest prices I've ever seen on a Carnival cruise. All you got to do is call the radio station or call Just Cruises in St. Charles and join me on the cruise in January.
That would be excellent. Steve Casper, owner and radio guru of KFAV, coming up to join us here at the end of the second period. 2-0 River Otters lead it after 2. Joe Richter coming up with a period recap for you on our thecountycalendar.com second intermission report. Then we sit down with Mike Hickman of King Edward's Fried Chicken, and then a look at our out-of-town scoreboard around the UHL. 2-0 River Otters after 2 periods. Our thecountycalendar.com second intermission report upcoming. This is River Otters hockey on 99.9 KFAV.
Smoking Q, All-American Barbecue.
Hi, this is Carol with Smokin' Q, All-American Barbecue in Wentzville, Missouri. We want you to know we've just added open pit barbecue, just like you make outside at home. Burgers, pork steaks, chicken, brats, and from the hill Sazitza, grilled over charcoal and hickory and drenched in our famous Q sauce. Barbecue burgers, $3.75. Pork steaks, $4.50.
Gotta have my barbecue.
If you're in the market for a pre-owned vehicle, here's an announcement you won't want to miss.
This is Harry Kirch, the new kid on the block at Warrenton Ford. Because of the recent 0% financing, our pre-owned vehicle selection has never been greater. I am overstocked with $2 million worth of clean, late-model, one-owner local trade-ins. There has never been a better time to buy. I absolutely positively have to sell these units. Come in and make me any offer. Warrenton Ford, exit 193 on the Northeast Service Road in Warrenton.
If you still like a hardware store where you can see everything at a glance, plus hometown personal service, may I suggest O'Fallon True Value. This is Happy Don Chappie. Remember, help is just around the corner.
True Value Easy Care Premium Quality Interior Latex Paint is on sale. Easy Care paints give walls and trim a tough, durable finish with excellent washability. Flat, $15.99 a gallon. Eggshell and satin, $17.99. Semi-gloss, $18.99 a gallon. Get True Value paint at O'Fallon True Value.
This is Tammy Crouch, branch manager of Community State Bank in Troy. Have you checked your savings account interest lately? Many banks are paying as little as 1% on your savings dollars. At Community State Bank, we know how hard you work to save money for a rainy day. We are happy to pay one of the highest rates in the area on savings accounts. Call Community State Bank at 636-5 528-6088 to earn more on your money. Community State Bank is located at 101 Times Square between Kroger and Walmart in Troy. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Where chickens become famous, the Big Boys Restaurant. They strut their stuff, they flip their tails, and act so bon vivant.
All-you-can-eat breakfast buffet every Friday and Saturday, 7 until 11. Sundays, 8 until 11. The price, $4.85. Friday includes coffee. Kids 6 through 12, $2.85. 5 and under free with adult breakfast. Big Boys Breakfast Buffet.
Chickens become famous at Big Boys
This
Restaurant.
is your hometown grocer, Jeff Wilkie, from Bayard IGA at Lake St. Louis. Not only is Bayard IGA a full-service grocery store with a large fresh meat and produce section, a deli, and a bakery, we meet or beat the big chains on lots of items you need every day. And the ownership of Bayard IGA lives right here in the local community. Bayard IGA, Lake St. Louis, with double coupons up to 40 cents in value and no limit on the number.
Full-service Missouri Lottery available at Bayard IGA at Lake St. Louis.
We got carpet, 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 carpet. We got vinyl, vinyl kitchen floors. We got vinyl kitchen floors. We got carpet, 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 carpet. Ceramic tile, hardwood floors. We're also a pro flooring store. We got carpet, 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 carpet creations. Carpet Creations, O'Fallon, Missouri, where we will not be undersold.
2-2 score in that one after 2 periods of play. Elmira at BC. Next up, Adirondack to Ice Hawks in New Haven facing the Knights, an Eastern Conference playoff battle over there. 5-4 the score. The Knights of New Haven are leading the Adirondack Ice Hawks. The Kalamazoo Wings in Port Huron facing the Border Cats. After 2 periods of play, no score from those two teams. Asheville, the Smoke, they're in Quad City facing the Mallards. Mallards trying to get win number 49 on the season as they are hosting the Asheville Smoke tonight, and they're well on their way. 4-3 the score after 2 periods of play. Quad City leading the Asheville Smoke. Knoxville, the Speed in Rockford facing the Ice Hogs. The Ice Hogs leading that one 4-1 in the bottom of the barrel matchup there, the 2 worst teams in the league. And finally, the big game for the River Otters, Muskegon, the Fury, hosting the Flint Generals. The Generals, of course, only a couple of points ahead of this River Otters team in the Western Conference standings, 3 points to be exact. And after 2 periods of play, the Fury helping out the River Otters tonight as they're leading the Flint Generals 5-0 in that one. That's your out-of-town scoreboard and our thecountycalendar.com second intermission report. When we come back, the drop of the puck in the 3rd period. The River Otters leading the Fort Wayne Komets 2-0. The hope they'll hang on to that lead when we come back on River Otters Hockey on 99.9 KFAV.
This is your hometown grocer, Jeff Wilkie, from Bayard IGA at Lake St. Louis. Not only is Bayard IGA a full-service grocery store with a large fresh meat and produce section, a deli, and a bakery, we meet or beat the big chains on lots of items you need every day. And the ownership of Bayard IGA lives right here in the local community. Bayard IGA, Lake St. Louis, with double coupons up to 40 cents in value and no limit on the number.
Full-service Missouri Lottery available at Bayard IGA at Lake St. Louis.
Attention racing fans, it's new and now open daily for you. It's the Race Shop on West Pierce Boulevard next to Subway in Wentzville. You'll thrill to the great selection of NASCAR racing apparel and die-cast collectibles. Every day is race day at the Race Shop.
This is Missouri River Otters Hockey.
And welcome back to the Family Arena. 3rd period underway. Puck chipped in. The River Otters and Capoletti heading back for 2-0 the score. The River Otters leading the Komets, and if they can hold on, Flint already losing to Muskegon 5-0. River Otters would be within a point of the 4th and final playoff spot in the Western Conference. We heard it's not a final, just 5-0 after 2, but conflicting reports. But nonetheless, the Muskegon Fury up 5-0 on the Flint Generals, and hopefully we'll get a confirmation on that final score. But it looks like the River Otters are getting the needed help, Joe Richter, from the Muskegon Fury.
Yeah, the Fury, another great defensive team like this team we're seeing here, the Fort Wayne Komets, but another team that the River Otters played very well against, the Muskegon Fury, and hopefully we might grab that number 3 seed to face them in the playoffs instead of Quad City.
Here's Massey, a chance trying to work in front, chopped off his stick. Back in deep behind the River Otters net. Here's Whitecotton trying to race after it. Now Goodmanson trying to work it free. Now Massey chipping it off for Bobby Marshall. Marshall tied up in behind the River Otters net. Marshall trying to work it out front. Now Grills drops it off the end boards there as Hughes had Marshall tied up. Far boards Ritson will bring it to center. River Otters from our right to left here in this third period. Ritson chops it ahead for Goodmanson. He'll dump it in. Grills there to chip it right back out for Fort Wayne at center. Doug Searle bouncing puck will control it at the Missouri line near side for Goodmanson. He'll get to the red line. He'll chip it in and head off the ice to the River Otters bench. 2 minutes into the third period. River Otters up 2-0 on the Fort Wayne Komets. Gretzky out to center. Trying to get by Jarris. Jarris now tries to tie him up and can't. Gretzky gets free trying to center, but Murley there on the back check will clear it out to center ice. Here's Kevin Schmidt at the red line. He'll snap the puck in off the near wall. Tony White there to pick it up for the River Otters. White will snap it in for Charlie Blythe. Blythe now out of the red line. He'll scoop it in on the backhand. Heading in after it, Brandon Murley. Trying to get by Virag. Does hammer to the end boards. Murley looking for help from Blythe. Gets it. Shovel to Blythe. Chip back in line the net from Murley. Trying to get free. Virag had it tied up. No call on the interference. Boss, a big check there on Kevin Schmidt as the puck is cleared back through center. Tony White trying to pry it away from Gretzky. Snaps it ahead and out to center ice off a body. Gretzky couldn't touch it. It would have been a two-line offside pass. Newmeyer in on right wing for Virag. Centers it through the slot there. No one for Fort Wayne in the area. Far corner. Here's Logan trying to work by Jarris in front. Gretzky, a one-timer knocked down. Rebound shot. Virag put it wide near corner. Bobby Marshall in front, chipped out to center by Brandon Murley. And the River Otters will change lines yet again. Heading back forward, Virag, and icing will be the call. The Missouri River Otters have chosen Golden Corral Buffet Restaurant as their official training table. Golden Corral offers over 140 different items, fresh-made salads, hot steaming entrees, and a dessert bar for everyone. Don't forget about their famous hot home-style rolls that go with any meal. Golden Corral is open for breakfast every Saturday and Sunday from 7:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Come eat with the River Otters at Golden Corral, located 1850 Zumbell Road in St. Charles, where we make pleasurable dining affordable. River Otters win the draw on their own end. Shabert will backhand it around the near side. Loach trying to chip it ahead for Morano out to center and does, but firing it right back in is Derek Gauthier. Shabert will control from in behind his net. Number 21 for the River Otters, the Sioux Lookout Ontario native. Capoletti far side to center. Looks things over. Slides it ahead for Kimball, who chips it in. Heading in after it, Morano there first to pick it up is Bobby Marshall for Fort Wayne up the wall. Logan will chip it out to center ice. Now it's Desjardins. He'll spin and fire the puck in deep. Regan couldn't touch it. Now Shabert near side. Had it whacked away by Marshall back in behind the Missouri net. Capoletti trying to whack it up the wall. He's hammered by Massey. Puck chipped in front. Gauthier can't get a shot away. And the River Otters clear it out to center. 3.5 into the third period. River Otters up 2-0 on Fort Wayne. Morano knocked it down. Now Loach in across the line. Loach over to Morano trying to cut in behind the net. Morano looking out front. Pass off to Loach. Wrist shot. He scores! Lonnie Loach! A wrist shot. The quick one beats Fillion. He was never set up for it. And the River Otters lead it 3-0.
And the reason why he was never set up for it was the decoy. Dustin Whitecotton on the far side. Everybody looked at him thinking Morano on the near side as the River Otters going right to left in this third period. Morano got the pass behind the net, went around, and made it look like he was going to go across, and instead goes right in the middle of the slot, right to Lonnie Loach, all alone. Both Martin Fillion and Troy Newmeyer were thinking that he was going to go across the crease to Whitecotton. Instead goes right to the front, right to Loach. No problem for Lonnie Loach. He gets his 29th, and the River Otters lead this one 3-0.
Morano and Whitecotton assisting on Loach's second of the night at 29th. 3:48 the time of this one. 3-0 River Otters, as Joe said. Newmeyer will fire the puck in the River Otters and Goodmanson. In along the end boards, can't get to it. Now it's Doug Searle. Searle now in behind his net, tied up there by Chad Grills. Now Severson flies it free, trying to cut in front. Regan chops it away. Now Goodmanson will flip it out to center ice. Mays back there to pick it up for the Komets. Up ahead for Severson. He'll chop it in off the far wall. Deep in the River Otters' end. Here's Hughes. Back for it behind the River Otters' net. Fort Wayne in the midst of a line change. Hughes gets to his own line. Now up to the red line. He'll wrist it in deep. Heading in after it is Murley, but Fillion snaps it up the wall to center ice. Here's Virag in on right wing, trying to sidestep Perry. Can't. Jarris picked it up in front, snapped it over to Perry out to center. Here's Charlie Blythe. Blythe up the right wing to Murley. He's tied up, can't get to the puck. Now it's Schmidt sending it out to center for Fort Wayne. Now Gretzky. He'll work it across the line. Poke check by Jarris. Trying to tie up Gretzky along the wall. Over to help out Murley. Now Tony White for the River Otters. In behind the net with it, far corner. It's Peter Cermak for Virag. Side of the net for Gretzky. Knocked down by Jarris. Good job with a hand-eye coordination there. He'll pry it free, try and play it by Gretzky. Gretzky holding off Jarris. Gretzky back in deep for Blythe. Blythe now trying to work it up the wall. Virag. Oh, and now Murley gets a stick in the face from Virag. And Tony White touches it up, but Virag just pretty much threw his stick into the face of Murley. It was inadvertent. And Virag not happy with himself after that one, and Murley took that one right into the eye as he's down, and John Sheehan, the athletic therapist, looking him over. But Brandon Murley, I know it's only been nearly 2 games, but really a strong force for the River Otters down, and having Sheehan look over him, we would not want to lose him with him already starting to get his legs and look good for this River Otters team.
And we also wouldn't want anything really bad to happen to him in his eyes. As you said, it was up in the eye area. And of course, a lot of debate on whether players should be made to wear those half shield visors that Lonnie Loach has discarded the past couple of games. We were mentioning that last night. He is not wearing it tonight either. But a lot of players feel they can see better without them because those things fog up real easily when you're breathing so hard out there trying to skate real hard. And of course, but it does give you that extra maybe confidence to go out, act all that, go out, give all the effort that you can. Of course, you kind of have to worry about your face when you're out there playing a lot of times. A lot of times hockey players aren't the prettiest guys in the world, and that's why they get a lot of sticks in the face like that.
Well, Murley looks to be okay here. The faceoff will come to Regan's left. David Rack and Joe Richter with you from the Family Arena. 2-0 River Otters over Fort Wayne. 24-10 River Otters out shooting the Komets. Here's Capoletti in behind the River Otters net. Will control it. Missouri will break out the center from our right to left. Loach up the near side. Logan knocked it down, tried to work back in. Can't get it by Schabbert. And now here is Desjardins trying to center. Now Logan in behind the net for Desjardins. Desjardins now trying to work out front. Wraparound shot knocked down. Rebound shot. They score. Far side. It was snapped in by Bertram as Regan was tied up. And Fort Wayne gets to the board here at 5:44. And you were starting to think shutout maybe for Brian Regan with so few shots, and great work for the River Otters clearing the puck away, but they couldn't get that one out to center. They got it out to center, but quickly brought back in by Logan and ended up putting it in the net.
Yeah, we had some great work in front by a Fort Wayne Komet player. Just kept on battling in front. He was battling so hard I couldn't catch his number, but the River Otters, both Eric Morano and Kevin Schabbert were trying to keep him at bay and try to keep him out of the way of Brian Regan, but he just kept on battling, and by having the River Otters have to key on him, that left Logan wide open for the shot, and he took advantage. Regan made the first save on the near side and had to go on the far side and couldn't catch up to it.
Bertram 7th, Desjardins and Logan assisting. 5:44, and Fort Wayne is finally on the board on their 11th shot, and it doesn't come until 5:44 of the third period. 45 minutes and 44 seconds. Here's Severson far side, taken down by Searle, no call. Fortunate for the River Otters. Hughes up the wall, trying to clear it out. Massey back in deep with it. Nobody from the River Otters wants to get to it. Now Goodmanson heading after it. Now Whitecotton there as well. Now Severson tied up by Searle. Now Goodmanson trying to pry it free for Searle in behind the net. Now Hughes chips it up the far wall for Ritson. And Ritson will spin and fire it out to center ice. Too far for Whitecotton. Heading back for it in the Fort Wayne end is Bobby Marshall. He'll touch up for the icing call. We'll take a break and be right back here at the Family Arena. 3-1. River Otters lead it after Bertram gets his 7th. This is River Otters hockey on 99.9 KFAV.
There are thousands of websites where you can see financial information, hundreds of books and magazines you can read. But while information is important, what really matters is what you do with it. That's where Waddell & Reed can help. We offer personal planning through our financial advisors across the country. Combined with our acclaimed investment products, this means you don't have to search everywhere to learn about your financial options. Waddell & Reed, investing with a plan.
For all your insurance and investing needs, call me, Darryl Lackey, 636-936-8901. Go Otters.
This is Missouri River Otters hockey.
And welcome back to the Family Arena. 3-1, the River Otters leading the Fort Wayne Komets. 6 minutes, 48 seconds into the third period. Lonnie Loach's 29th made it 3-0 River Otters. And then Bertram 7th at 5:44 to get the Komets on the board. And somehow, Joe Richter, the River Otters will have to keep Fort Wayne from trying to get themselves back into this game.
Yeah, I got confused on the last goal. I was thinking Logan was the guy that was battling in front of the net. I was thinking that Logan took the shot. It was Bertram, in fact, who took the shot. But Logan really had a huge part in that goal.
Well, Logan brought it in for Desjardins, and then Logan created all that traffic in front as Bertram snapped it in from that far side. We get a whistle with Murley down on the puck. He's a hockey player. He's right back out there. And okay, but Logan really set that up, brought it in from center, and just a lot of hard work. They didn't give up on that play, and the River Otters, you were hoping would not get a little lax defensively. It seemed like maybe they did there.
Well, I think it was more of the fact that, you had Logan battling in front, and Morano, a forward on the back check, was also, along with Kevin Shabbat, the defenseman for the River Otters. You had two players on one guy in front of the net. That's going to leave somebody open, and that open man was Bertram.
Here's Murley in front for Blythe. Blythe now from the left point trying to snap it in deep. Brought right off the center by Virag. Ahead for Gretzky. Knocked down. Good job by Tony White to do that, but now brought in by Cermak for Gretzky in front. One-timer. They score! Justin Virag. What a pinpoint passing play there as Virag connects with Cermak and Gretzky, and all of a sudden it's a one-goal hockey game.
And now you see what you just mentioned, where you thought maybe the River Otters might get a little lax in their own zone. There it was right there. The River Otters player first made a good play to poke check the puck away, but the puck went right back to the guy he was defending, and that guy passed it across ice, and the River Otters defenseman did not follow him on the play. That left him wide open. He did not come back. That left the forward, Charlie Blythe, and another River Otters defenseman on the far side all alone to cover it. Just a bad play by the River Otters defenseman, and River Otters got caught up with it.
Virag 16th from Gretzky and Cermak at 6:35 as they dump it in on goal, and Regan makes the stop. But it's a one-goal hockey game now, still favoring the River Otters 3-2. Loach is 29th the difference right now, and that really looks like a big goal when you thought that might have just been icing on the cake with the way the River Otters are playing. And that's what Mark Reeds has talked about, that 60-minute effort the River Otters need to be a playoff team, and tonight lacked for the past few minutes, and in a matter of, less than 1 minute, the Komets score in a matter of 51 seconds, 2 goals. Bertram 7th and Virag 16th, and it's 3-2. River Otters still leading. Moreno will backhand it out to center ice. Logan heading back at the Fort Wayne end now. Bobby Marshall will get to it. He'll pick it up and control it behind the Komets net. We are 8 minutes into the third period. Gauthier with speed through center. He'll work it on the near side. Gauthier down to the circle, trying to work it in front. Shabbat hammers him and then pins him to the end boards, takes the puck away. Shabbat does good work. Shabbat trying to fight through Gauthier. Now Capoletti helping out. Wristed around the near boards. Marshall heading back at the Fort Wayne end. This shouldn't be icing and won't be, and both teams will change lines. Puck snapped to center ice by the Komets, but it's ruled a two-line offside pass for the whistle and the stoppage in play. To be known, to make money, to get recognized. Everybody wants it. Every business needs it. So how do you get to be known and recognized? By working with the only marketing company that's got balls. Fun purple stress balls, that is. J-Web, new media design. J-Web creates name awareness, direction, and profitability with creative marketing campaigns, web development, print media, and multimedia. Call or visit J-Web on the internet to find out how you can get balls and get recognized. 636-928-3162. www.jwebmedia.com. And it's ruled a hand pass here by Jamie Koharski. And we'll get another face-off inside of the Fort Wayne end. It'll come to the right of Martin Fillion.
Well, once again, we're mentioning that 60-minute play. We need them to keep on going and just have that intensity that we saw early on in the game. And we just haven't seen it so far after we scored that third goal. And that is a tendency that the River Otters have. They feel like they have it in the bag. And you just don't have any game in any bag, no matter what the score is. You got to play hard the whole time.
Not when you're 3 points out of a playoff spot with the team you're trailing, losing 5-0 in an opportunity. Obviously, the River Otters don't know that, but you have to assume that every 2-point opportunity, every game is that important. Here's Mays out to center ice for Fort Wayne. To the red line and across the River Otters line. Wrist shot deflected over the goal. Bouncing puck near quarter. Severson trying to get after it. Murley hammers him. Near wall. Picked up by Searle up the wall for Blythe. Scooped out to center on the back end, and Mays will control it at the Fort Wayne line. Ahead for Severson. Knocked down. Now Searle will try and bring it the other way. Perry trying to chip it ahead. Broken up by Mays. Wristed into the River Otters end. 9.5 into the third period. 3-2. River Otters lead at Fort Wayne with 2 goals in a matter of 51 seconds to get back into this game. Puck sent all the way down the ice. Bertram will touch up for the whistle and the stoppage in play. And the River Otters just, in a sense now, Joe Richter, need to just sort of weather the storm. They let themselves fall back on their heels for a second, and now they have to say, okay, we gave up the 2 goals, but now it's time to start bearing down and not only keeping Fort Wayne out of the River Otters net from tying it, but creating some more of those great scoring opportunities we saw earlier.
Yeah, we need to put the pressure on this Fort Wayne Comet defense. Keep them hand in their zone like we did the first half of the game. We had them on their heels for the first half of the game. We need to get back into that type of play.
Puck snapped in off the near wall. Tony White controls for the River Otters. They skate from our right to left. Up 3-2. White Cotton will chip it in the Fort Wayne end. After it, Goodmanson. Out of the net, Fillion will chip it around the far side. Knocked down by Ritson. Back in deep, Goodmanson. Here's White Cotton trying to get after it. Virag trying to spin away from White Cotton. Virag up the far wall. Chipped ahead for Gretzky. Out through center it goes, and Tony White will head back for it in the River Otters end. White will fire the puck around the near side for Dustin White Cotton. White Cotton now will slide it ahead at the Fort Wayne line. Controlled there by Bobby Marshall. Marshall with Goodmanson watching over him. Marshall will skate in behind the Fort Wayne net. Marshall around the far side up for Jim Logan. Logan now couldn't control it. Gets out to center. Capoletti will flip it right back in. Heading back for it is David Mays. Mays now in behind the Fort Wayne goal. Will bring it out in front of his own goal. Mays off the far side is center to Logan. Logan now ahead for Gauthier. He'll chip it in. Capoletti gloved it down. Brought it right back out to center ice. Lost the handle. Now got it back. Works up the near wall trying to fire it in. He's tripped up there by Craig Desjardins. No call. And I think that was more of Capoletti losing his edge than it was anything else.
Well, you know, Capoletti, we talk about it a lot. He's a guy who's much like Charlie Blythe and much like most of this River Otters team, where he's always given everything he has, and especially in his own zone right there. He did just that, given everything he had, just maybe a little too much on that one as he falls on the play. But Anthony Capoletti, just once again, one of those unsung heroes on this team, just plays so well in his own zone. He's nasty to play against, and you love having those types of guys on your blue line.
Puck chipped in deep by Blythe after the River Otters won the draw. Marshall clears it right out. Now it's Mays firing the puck in. The River Otters end. Murley near side trying to tie up Marshall. Murley chipping it up the wall. Right point Grills a shot. 6-save Regan. Near boards Tony White there to swat it ahead from Murley. Murley now gets it by Grills ahead for Blythe. And the River Otters coming to center. Blythe up the left wing for Perry trying to chop it in and does. Fillion out of the net with time. 8:45 to go in the third period. 3-2 River Otters in a big game here. A big 2 points. 3 points out of a playoff spot, 5 behind this third-place Fort Wayne team. Should be an icing call here as Tony White heads back to touch up. And he does for a whistle and a stoppage to play. We're at home on Wednesday against the Kalamazoo Wings. 7:15 start, Dave & Buster's Power Card Night, which goes to the first 1,000 adults who will make their way through the turnstiles at the Family Arena. Dave & Buster's Power Card Night this Wednesday against the Kalamazoo Wings. 7:15 start. For group tickets, call 636-946-0003 or for individual tickets, Metro tickets 314-534-1111.
Of course, River Otters have 8 games left. 6 of those come here at the Family Arena. So plenty of time for you folks to come out and see some great hockey, as we know and we've been talking about. This is the playoffs. It starts early for the River Otters as they're trying to get back into the playoff race.
Here is Virag with the puck behind the Fort Wayne net, out in front of his own net, getting away from Kimball. He'll bring it to center ice. Virag to the red line, left wing. In for Cermak, trying to cut by Searle. Great job to pin and hold him. Now Kimball the other way, trying to work by Schmidt. Kimball sidesteps Schmidt. Good job. Into the far corner. Kimball tied up there by Schmidt. Pinned to the boards. Very definitely interfered with, but no call. Near corner, Loach trying to get it away from Virag. Can't. Now Newmeyer will take it behind the Fort Wayne net and come up the far wall to center ice. Newmeyer to the red line. Will snap it in. Searle heading in back after it. Regan up the near wall. Out for Loach as the River Otters skate from our right to left. Loach now will snap it through neutral ice. Back deep into the Fort Wayne end. Good job by Loach to not put it too far for the icing, giving the River Otters an opportunity to change lines. 3-2 River Otters lead it. 7:40 to go here in regulation. Puck snapped ahead for Gretzky. Capoletti there for the River Otters. Backhands it. Up ahead for Goodmanson. Bertram tying him up now. Capoletti will chip it to the near wing for Ritson. Ritson now will play it off the wall for Shabert. He'll cut in deep. Shabert in behind the Fort Wayne net. Will chip it around the far side. After it is Goodmanson centering, but no one there for the River Otters, and the puck will carry him back out to center ice. Here's Ritson trying to wrist it right back in. It should be icing here as Bobby Marshall touches up. No, it's waved off. Marshall will stick handle at the side of his net. Marshall will snap it ahead for Logan. Couldn't handle it. Icing waved off as Capoletti will have to race back for it. Capoletti in behind his net. Will wrist it off the near glass. Just got it by the referee, Jamie Goharski. Goodmanson, right wing feed, Ritson in across the line. Will set it on net. Stopped there by Fillion. He'll drop it off there for Newmeyer out in front of his own net. Newmeyer for Fort Wayne. Newmeyer gets by Murley out at center to the red line. He'll chip it in and get by Tony White to the near corner he heads. Jarris beats Newmeyer to the puck. In along the end wards. Slat comes off between the glass as Jarris hammers Newmeyer. And we get a whistle and a stoppage play. The second time that's happened tonight.
And it has a lot to do with the way this game has been played. Both teams finishing their checks every chance they get. Mike Jarris certainly doing that right there. He hammered him into the board. Jarris, much like Anthony Capoletti, where we were talking about, plays very nasty in his own zone. Makes him very, very tough to play against. And we've seen a number of times during this season where we had a very good offensive player for another team, and Jarris seemed to be out there almost every time that player was out there. And he just goes right at you with that in-your-face game, playing you tough, and it takes a lot of players off their game. Tonight, I think he's somewhat taken. He hasn't been out there every time that Gretzky has been out, but I think he's helped take Brent Gretzky off of his game, where Gretzky might not be used to being played so physical like that, where Jarris is giving him a hack and a shove and a hit every chance he can get, and it does take you off your game.
It certainly does, and if folks want to see some of that hard-hitting physical hockey for 38 games, full season tickets, all prices have been made more affordable with our new local St. Charles County ownership. Contact a River Otters ticket representative, 636-946-0003. A full season ticket, 38 games, a 76-game schedule next year as opposed to 74. In the uppers and end zone, just $114 for a full season ticket. That's $3 per seat per game for an upper end zone seat, $114. Call your River Otters season ticket representative right away, 636-946-0003, 8:30 to 5:30, Monday through Friday, and we'll get you set up for the next year. And if you sign up and pay in full by March 31st, free playoff tickets. And the River Otters trying to make their way into the playoffs against this Fort Wayne club. Up 3-2, 6 minutes left to go in regulation. Near side, here's Severson trying to chop it in front. Knockdown. Loach will bring it back out to center ice. Lonnie Loach up the left wing. Over to Hughes. They work in onside. Hughes will dish in deep for Loach. Bad angle wrist shot up high, and Fillion just gets his shoulder on that and holds on to it. It seemed like things were kind of in slow motion there. It almost looked like the River Otters thought they were offside, but really weren't.
Well, maybe that had to do with two defensemen kind of leading the rush there. The two guys we acquired from Knoxville, Doug Searle and Jason Hughes, not necessarily known as a Brian Leach type, but they can help you lead the rush. Both can pass the puck pretty well, and both have very good shots from the point. And they have a clue what to do with it. And right there, Lonnie Loach was kind of flat-footed when he got the puck at first, and Searle was going hard the other way. It almost looked like Searle said, hey, give me the puck. I want to lead the rush with Hughes here.
Here's Capoletti back at the River Otters line. Another defenseman partnered with Schabbert. Up the wall for Ritson. Now White Cotton. Now Goodmanson out at center. Goodmanson with speed, but he lost the handle as Virag. Nice job on the back check. Will circle back in behind the Fort Wayne net after taking it away. Virag snaps it near side. Had his 16th to make it 3-2 at 6:35 of the third period. River Otters have settled things down. White Cotton now. Capoletti will fire it in off the far boards. Fillion out of the net. Leaves it there for Bobby Marshall. Snapped up the far wall to center ice. Here's Capoletti. At the red line, will snap it back in, off the boards. Mays over to Bobby Marshall, snaps it out the center. Near wing for Gauthier, works in on, down to the circle, now to the corner, tied up there by Schabbert. Good check there by Kevin Schabbert to take Gauthier right out of the play. Tony White will bring it back to neutral ice. To the red line, will fire it in, on goal, glove down there by Fillion. He'll clear it up the wall and out to center. Gauthier hammered there by Murley. Now trying to bring it ahead is Mays. He'll chip it in. Tony White actually knocked it down. Now Desjardins. Up for Gauthier. He and Logan collide. Now Murley will bring it the other way. Brandon Murley in on right wing. Murley down to the circle. Fires a shot. Rebound in front. They score! Mike Jarris! Oh, what a goal! Murley's shot squirted through, and Jarris just got a stick on it. 4-2 River Otters here.
What a way to put him on top, and we got a little bit of melee afterwards.
Jarris pushing and shoving. Logan pulling somebody off, wanting to drop the glove. He starts throwing punches there. has somebody down on the ice. He jumped him from behind. I can't believe that. Logan should be ejected for that. That's not only the third man in, that's like the sixth man in. He jumped Charlie Blythe and just started wailing away on him after he tripped Blythe and threw him to the ice. I can't believe that.
Oh, but man, we had the River Otters leading 3-2. A transition game going the other way. Brandon merely takes it across the blue line, starts the rush, a 3-on-2, puts the shot on net. It gets through somehow. Mike Jarris, helping with the rush, comes in, follows up the play, and chips in the rebound. And I think he was a little too happy after the play as all of the Fort Wayne Komets came in and attacked him after the play. A melee ensued. All five players from each team were going at it behind the Fort Wayne net. Oh, what excitement. I love this game.
Jarris and Mays both in the box, and I am serious. Jim Logan should be ejected from this game. He came in, Blythe never saw him. He pulled him, threw him on the ice, and just started wailing away on him. And Charlie Blythe was just trying to get some sort of positioning in the whole mix-up in the scrum and along the end boards.
And Blythe goes back to the bench. He won't be penalized, but Logan takes a seat, and we'll find out for how long. But you're right, Charlie Blythe seemed like he was just trying to get in the middle of it, maybe break a couple of guys up. And Logan just went after him. And of all guys, Charlie Blythe is not a guy who plays dirty. This is a guy you almost admire when he's out there because he plays so hard and plays so tough defensively. Right there, Logan just goes after him. Logan not exactly known as a guy who's the enforcer type either.
Well, Jarris in the end result favors the River Otters, or I guess the first part of that favor the River Otters. Jarris got his fourth as he chipped in, and look at that. Brandon Murley taking the shot. It's a big, wicked shot there. It just trickled through. Was sitting on the goal line. Jarris chopped it in. Murley and Perry assisting. 15-23 the time of the goal, and the River Otters lead it 4-2. And I would guess that the River Otters are going to get an equity lending group power play out of this situation once they sort things out. We'll take a break and be right back here at the Family Arena. 4-2. River Otters up on Fort Wayne. This is River Otters Hockey on 99.9 KFAV.
Don't drink and drive. The price is too high. For a small fee, you and your friends and family can enjoy a worry-free trip to the casinos or other special events. Now is the perfect time to call M&M Limousine Service to book those upcoming holiday parties and weddings. Flat rates are available with special rates for teens and seniors. When the occasion calls for a limo, you should call M&M Limousine Service at 636-734-8439. That's 636-734-8439.
This is Missouri River Otters Hockey.
And welcome back to the Family Arena. They finally sorted things out here, and we're going to have a myriad of penalties, I'm sure. 15-23, the River Otters score their fourth, Jarris' fourth of the year from Murley and Perry to make it 4-2 River Otters. But after that, a scrum, melee ensued behind the Fort Wayne net. Everybody got involved. Mays and Logan in the box for the Fort Wayne Komets for the River Otters. Mike Jarris in the box. And Mays has already been actually sent back to the dressing room. Logan's still in the box. And this, again, as we said, should probably favor the River Otters. But I'm not sure. Greg Pahalski, nicknamed the Chief, talking things over with Jamie Koharski about what indeed he has called here, as Koharski explains it to him. And now he'll head over to Mark Reed to make sure he understands exactly what is happening. And we'll get everything sorted out here and distribute the penalties to you when we find out. Pahalski doesn't like it, so I'm guessing it's going to favor the River Otters.
Well, we'll get you caught up on what happened there. Mike Jarris, a guy, he took him a while to get his first professional goal, but finally did in this calendar year, and now has his fourth goal of the year tonight. He's played just excellent in these past few games. We were just talking about that in the commercial break. Also, Brandon Murley, he's played 2 games with this River Otters team, got his first goal in his first River Otter game last night, and tonight has 2 assists. I think this guy's a keeper. He really is, he's something else. He's got, the strong legs. He fights hard to the net, much like Kelvin Filario, this River Otters team. But he might be stealing Filario's spot as he just has some really good hands, too, to go along with that strength and speed.
Well, Murley, his second assist. third point in 2 games with the River Otters. They're still sorting the penalties out here. This is, it's going to be a lot. David Mays is going to get 2 for instigating, 5 for fighting, and a game misconduct. Mike Jarvis, 2 for roughing. And then, who is it for Fort Wayne? Tommy Bolduck? No, it has to be Jim Logan gets the 4 for the rough and the 10-minute misconduct. It is Jim Logan who gets the double minor for roughing and a 10-minute misconduct. Mike Jarvis, 2 for roughing. So Mays and Logan. Mays for Fort Wayne, 2 for instigating, 5 for fighting, a game misconduct. Logan, a double minor for rough and a 10-minute misconduct. Jarvis, just 2 for roughing. So the River Otters are going to have a 5-minute power play here, a 5-minute power play.
And hopefully they can hold on to this one, leading 4-2 here. They'll be on the power play. Not only the 5-minute power play, but they'll also have a 5-on-3 advantage for 2 minutes. They're just tacking on more and more here now. It's 4 minutes. We'll have a 5-on-3, I believe, because the chief, as you said, the head coach for this, the Fort Wayne Komets team, is somewhat arguing the call by not sending his players out, and Jimmy Koharski is going to penalize him for it. Greg Koharski decided he just wasn't going to send his players out. He was that disappointed with the call.
Actually, no, he's not going to be. That's not going to be the case. The 5 for fighting on Mays and the double minor for roughing on Logan. Mays is instigator and Jarvis is roughing. They cancel each other out, so that's why we have a 5-on-3.
And actually now Koharski is barking at Pohalski to get his players out here as he was taking his darn time. And finally he just dropped it, even though they weren't ready.
River Otters on a 5-on-3 power play here, up 4-2. Loach in across the line. Loach to the right point for Goodmanson. 5-on-3 for 4 minutes. Whitecotton in front. Ritson, one-time shot knocked down. Rebound. Whitecotton has it. Whitecotton out to Goodmanson. Right point. Over to Loach. Left point. Loach takes the shot over to Goodmanson. Goodmanson side of the net. Whitecotton in front. Deflected down. Rebound. Morano can't get a shot away. 5-on-3 for 3.5 more minutes. And just a myriad of penalties here as slashing will be the call. And Schmidt is going to be sent off here for the Komets. I believe he's going to be sent off for the slash here at 15:55, I think. Or is it going to be against the River Otters? I'm not sure.
Well, Jamie Koharski's definitely taking, making sure nobody can give him any flack for these calls. He's not going to take anything from these players, as the Komets are going to get another minor here, as you said, Dave.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Taking charge.
Wow.
Of course, Fort Wayne just shot themselves in the foot here as they took that really, really stupid penalty after the Jarvis goal. That was just ridiculous. They took themselves out of the game, just put the nail in their own coffin, so to speak.
River Otters a 5-on-3 power play for 3.5 minutes. Loach fakes it over to Goodmanson. Goodmanson now back over to Lonnie Loach. Loach fakes it down low to Morano in front. One-timer, Whitecotton scores! Justin Whitecotton, a power play goal. 5-2 River Otters.
And the River Otters might just want to keep on pouring them on, kind of maybe send a message to these Komets. They're not going to get shoved around like that either. First, Koharski showing he's not going to get shoved around by these players, and as the referee making the calls he needs to make. And the River Otters showing they're not going to let these guys run rampant on them like they did after that Jarvis goal. They're just going to keep on pouring it on. 5-2 the score. Whitecotton slams it home for his 33rd of the year. That ties a Missouri River Otters record for goals in a season, which was held by Eric Morano, set last year. And maybe he can set the record tonight.
Whitecotton, 33rd. Morano and Loach. A 5-on-3 power play goal. 5-2 River Otters over Fort Wayne. And they're not done. They're going to be on a 5-on-3 power play for pretty much the remainder of the hockey game. And they, in fact, will be. Morano out to Loach. Has trouble. Grills took it away from him. And we'll snap it back to center. Grills now firing it into the River Otters zone. River Otters with 3 in this final period. Fort Wayne with 2. 5-2 River Otters. Here's Goodmanson over to Loach. Loach now over to Goodmanson. Right point. Back to Loach looking for the hat trick. In front, deflected. Whitecotton side of the net. Oh, he's stopped there by Fillion, who chips it around the far side. Goodmanson looking to get it in front. Goodmanson looking over to Loach. Holds it right point. Out to Loach now left point. 5-on-3 power play. Morano side of the net. River Otters up 5-2. Loach, a one-timer, and Fillion on the glove stop there as he cranked it upstairs.
That was a heck of a save by Fillion. A couple of great saves by Fillion. And both of them on Lonnie Loach. He's setting up on the point. Once again, Fort Wayne falling back in that tight box, so there are only 3 players on the ice, so a lot of open ice. And Loach, if he's going to get some open ice and an open shot, he's going to go ahead and take that shot. And he's done a great job doing that. He's got a rocket from the point. He let one go. He also, earlier, Fillion made a save, but it was more of a pass as he shot it wide to the net because he saw Whitecotton going around the net on the back door. He was trying to get Whitecotton a deflection to set the River Otters record for goals in the season, but Fillion picked it off.
Here's Searle, a shot in front, rebound, Kimball at the side of the net. Oh, he had an open net, he missed the mark. Here is Perry, back out to Capoletti, left point, over to Doug Searle. He'll wind, side of the net, Perry looking in front, Kimball on the far side, had it slip through and deflect off the skate. 2.5 left to go in regulation. River Otters a 5-2 on a 5-on-3 power play. Doug Searle over to Capoletti. Capoletti back over to Searle. Searle in deep. Perry in front of Blythe, chopped away. Now Blythe, back right point for Searle. Searle now winds, fires, high slot, goes just wide. Capoletti has it at the left point. Anthony Capoletti in front. Blythe back over to Kimball. Kimball now back out high to Capoletti. 5-on-3 power play. River Otters up 5-2. Capoletti back to the left circle with it. Controlling, under 2 to go in regulation. Here's Searle, high slot, side of the net for Kimball. Kimball now looks things over. Pass cross ice for Searle. River Otters just moving that puck around and is playing keep away. Perry from up high on the short side, put it wide of the net, around the near wall. Here's Capoletti, left point. Capoletti to Searle. Now Kimball, side of the net, trying to work it in front. And now here is Darren Kimball, left point. Kimball works into the high slot. Wrist shot knocked down, and it's a flex out through center ice here with 1:20 left to go in regulation. River Otters on a 5-on-3 power play for the remainder of regulation unless they score. Here's Loach, fires a shot on net and gloved down there by the Komets, and a cross-checking call upcoming here on the Fort Wayne Komets. And the River Otters are again going to stay on the power play here. And they were going to be anyway, and it's just kind of academic now that the Komets get sent off for a cross-checking minor. And the face-off will come deep to the right of Martin Fillion, and things are just getting out of hand for the Fort Wayne Komets, Joe Richter.
And we continue to give credit to Koharski to make sure he makes these calls. He doesn't want these guys to, get out of hand. He doesn't want them to start running rampant and attacking each other and have somebody get hurt just because the Fort Wayne Komets are frustrated. And that's what happens. That's what's happening right here. The Fort Wayne Komets is very frustrated, and they're taking it out on the River Otters unrightfully. This is just not good. It's not good hockey to see these guys just go out there and hack and slash just because they're upset because they're not winning. And that's what's happening. And Koharski is doing a good job making sure that they're spending time in the box, making sure he knows that they know that he knows what's going on. I just confused myself there, David.
You confused me, too. Face off to the right of Fillion. 3,845 at the Family Arena here. River Otters still on that 5-on-3 to finish out regulation. Loach one-timer, he scores! Lonnie Loach, the hat-trick goal! The River Otters lead it 6-2.
We mentioned it earlier. The Fort Wayne Komets falling back in a tight box. So all the River Otters just need to do is get an open shot, wait till there's traffic in front, and let it go. Lonnie Loach did just that, ripping it underneath the crossbar for his 30th of the year, his 3rd of the night. And the River Otters lead this one 6-2. They just continue to give it to the Komets.
18:55 the time of this one. Loach is 30th from Goodmanson and Moreno. And the River Otters taking advantage of this 5-on-3 situation. Lonnie Loach's 30th goal of the year. Wow.
This has been a fun one to watch, David.
It certainly has. Lonnie Loach scoring 30 goals for the first time since the 95-96 season with the Detroit Vipers of the IHL. Capoletti will backhand it in deep. Bobby Marshall there from Fort Wayne, trying to play it up the wall. Capoletti holds in left point. And the River Otters actually offside here. Again, 5-on-3 until we finish out this hockey game. 2 5-on-3 power play goals. Whitecotton his 33rd to tie a River Otters franchise record for goals in a season. Lonnie Loach, the hat-trick goal, his 30th of the year from Goodmanton and Moreno at 18:55 to make it 6-2.
Just a great game. We continue to talk about how the River Otters came out the right way. We wanted them to come out early and just start hammering away at the Komets. They started in the first period, outshooting them 12-3, and just never looked back, winning 1-0 in the first period, 2-0 after 2. Just held on to it. What a great game by this River Otters team.
Mike Jarris is fourth at 15:23, and the River Otters get 3 in a span of 3:32. 16:09, White Cotton's 33rd in the 5-on-3 power play goal. Then Loach's 30th of 5-on-3 at 18:55. 10 to go in the game. Voth, one-time shot. Blocker stopped there by Fillion. Puck chopped up the wall. Capoletti able to hold in. 6-2 River Otters. And they're going to make it 2 in a row here. A wrist shot through a screen. Knocked down. Far boards. Here's Newmeyer flipping it up the wall. And that does it. The River Otters get a big 2 points over the Fort Wayne